All right, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. Happy Monday. And it's a happy Monday for a lot of different reasons, right? Well, number one, we made it to another week. But number two, the Ravens and Buccaneers are playing this evening. A lot of people are excited about that. So because the Ravens and Buccaneers are playing, we're combining our regularly scheduled show with then a pregame show later. So we're going 4 to roughly 7. Goodness, shirts and pants. It's going to be a little bit of a marathon here. But we got a lot to dissect here. Let's run you through what we got going on. Well, we are going to start with some baseball. The World Series is set. And it's everyone's favorite team, the New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers, which I guess baseball got their wish. But we're going to touch on that. And Buck Showalter had him on last time. He had some words about what it's like to manage in the postseason and how it is just a different animal. Then we're going to dive into a lot of football news. And I mean, the highlights, the news that is coming out of it. You want to talk about Deshaun Watson's done for the year and all the conversations behind that. Tua Tagovailoa is set to possibly return on Sunday, and he went to the mic and spoke to the media about these situations. Oh, and then there's things out there with Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, and Bill Belichick just sounding off on the Jets. Sound familiar? A lot of no love lost there. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot ready to go. And while you guys are tuning in, because we do this live on YouTube, we appreciate those that listen on Spotify and Apple as well. Rate and review. A lot to discuss here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. But, you know, all love, though. No love lost for you, though, Zach, by the way.
No.
Who's here with me? We got a skeleton crew.
Yeah, I mean, we got people joining throughout the
yes, we do.
Throughout the day. But, yeah, it's just going to be us in studio. And what a wild – the NFL this year has been – it feels like there's no shortage of storylines week to week. And we haven't even gotten through a full week. I mean, the Ravens haven't played yet, and it feels like we have a packed show just basically going off of all the storylines that happened yesterday. Another wild weekend for the National Football League.
Oh, my goodness. You kidding me?
And, I mean, I'll say it. I mean, because we got to talking National Football League. How about let's talk about real fast Maryland Terrapins taking down the USC Trojans on hope. What a win.
What a win. And by the way, we're going to discuss that later, but we can just discuss it now. Homecoming. I understand how you feel about them storming the field. That's, you know what? Let them have their moments. They talk about needing a victory. I know USC's had some tough losses. I think they're better than their record indicates.
USC's a damn good team.
And the fact that for Maryland, coming back, winning at home, that's what they need. Homecoming weekend, you kidding me? In this economy, we got a lot we're going to cover from College Park there, but it was amazing. And also, by the way, maybe we get that pulled up later for balling or crushing it. Billy Edwards Jr. with the celly at the end of the game was incredible. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm so happy for them. And don't sleep on the midshipmen. Anchor down, baby, with Navy. They're on fire. Army and Navy. It should be great, guys.
That's going to be incredible.
It's just been amazing. And, guys, let us know what you're doing, where you're tuning in from. We will have call-ins later, so don't you worry. We will open up the phone lines for you all to let us know how you're doing, how you're feeling, and what you got going on or what you are anticipating. It's also Overreaction Monday, too, by the way. So let us know what you guys are thinking in the process. Like, even if you're thinking this, Jake, this is great. Hitting my Squat-tober reps while watching.
Love it.
So that's, you know what? I got some squats in this morning, by the way. I don't know if you could tell Zach, but well, I mean, you're not looking from behind there, but there's a lot of reps done this morning there. So I don't have to go to the gym later. What?
Yeah, it's a good way to start your Monday with some squats.
Squats, baby. All right. How about this? Let's start the show off here and go with a little bit of baseball. Let's go a little bit of baseball. And yes, I know everyone, the New York Yankees, who we had a lot of Orioles fans that watch us, the Yankees are going to the World Series. And I feel like that it's a double whammy, Zach, in some ways, right? Because you feel, damn, it's the Yankees for a lot of fans. And then number two, you're like, damn, we won the season series against the Yankees, so that could have been us. But give credit to New York, man. New York, first off, those games in Cleveland were dynamite. Those were some of the best games that you could ask for as a fan of the game of baseball. Just unfortunately for the Guardians, you get your heart ripped out in two of them. Stanton he was already a monster, just physically built in a lab. postseason beast and one of the best postseason hitters now, Zach. Giancarlo Stanton, the guy that people were ready, hey, get rid of this guy. Yeah. He can hardly move, and he's only sometimes at a homer. He hits a homer, it seems like, every single at-bat that they need him to. 2 strikes. Bibby's pitching great. Stanton hits an absolute missile, 117 miles an hour to tie the game.
Yeah. And we talked about it before. Those were the kind of games that you felt like Cleveland needed to play to win that series. Is it needed to be scrappy. It needed to be those tough, we're in it till the very end. We let our bullpen go and win it. And then unfortunately, it was the star power of the New York Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, how about a Juan Soto 3-run blast to kind of open it up there at the end. Obviously, the Guardians always find a way to make it interesting, don't they? But these were the type of games that Cleveland wanted to play, and the Yankees just found a way each time. Cleveland scrapped back. Every single time you said to yourself, Cleveland's dead, it's over, it's done, turn off the TV. You sit there, and then you're like, wait, why is Cleveland got guys on first and second, no outs? Oh, how did they just tie this game? And then you bring in Emmanuel Clase, one of the best years we've seen from a relief pitcher ever, not even in Cleveland Guardians history. We're talking major league history. Did what? He gave up 5 runs all of 2024 regular season, gave up 8 in the postseason. That's not what they were hoping for.
5 earned runs over the course of a 162-game season for Emmanuel Clase. 5. He got tagged for 8 in the postseason, and at one point in the CS Championship Series, Clase had gotten 4 outs, gone 1 1/3, and had given up 4 runs. And it's not like they were smoking the ball off him in that last one. I mean, Verdugo got his hands sawed off. Oh, my goodness. But put the ball in play. The Yankees were just battling, and that allowed him to put the ball in play. Slow roller. They had a contact play going, and they scored a run. But it was the at-bats before. Volpe getting it going there. Rizzo, I think, was the first guy up, I believe, on that one, where you stay on it, 100-mile-an-hour cutter, and you stay on the baseball. We could go on and on.
I mean, that's
it.
Rizzo. You talk about a 100-mile-an-hour cutter on the hands. That's someone coming back from hand injury, and he's got to sit in there and just opposite field. You got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, you're picking up your hands off the damn dirt there, but they got it done here. And you know what? It leads to this conversation. I think it's going to be a great series. Dodgers on the other side. Shohei Ohtani was hammered, I think, last night celebrating. Oh, amazing. Oh. We thought Shohei Ohtani was great content for baseball. I love the content off the field where Ohtani was just celebrating, popping bottles. And shout out first to the Mets. Mets battled their ass off. That great run, OMG Jose Iglesias, Grimace. The entire run was fantastic. If you're a Mets fan, that had to have been a really cool experience. The Dodgers were the better team. They played like it. Their superstars showed up. Shohei Ohtani was hitting over 800 with runners in scoring position in his last 22 at-bats. They deserve to win that series. And there they are, Dodgers, Yankees. Baseball's dream is facing off.
And I like this question here. First off, thanks, Adit, for 6 membership. Member for 6
months, Adit. Hey, now.
Yeah, but you said in terms of national viewership, how much of a litmus test is the national appeal of this matchup? I think this is kind of a big, as much as obviously, as a Baltimore guy, I would love to have seen the Orioles. Obviously, didn't want to see the Yankees in because, the rivalry there. But if you're talking from a pure fan of baseball standpoint, this is the matchup it should have been. These were the teams that had, before the year, you said, what's the best possible matchup for Major League Baseball that's going to draw the biggest crowd, that's got the most star power? It's Yankees, it's Dodgers. It's the 2 old organizations with the biggest markets, kind of the biggest draw to them. I'm going to go out and say that if this goes 6 or 7, this could be one of, if not the most viewed World Series of all time.
It could. And then also consider the international market, Tani Yamamoto on just mentioning. And then you have the 2 biggest markets in baseball where these are these storied franchises. And whether you love them or hate them, here they are. I mean, the star power is going to be on display. You got it all sprinkled across it, right? And I mean, the Dodgers obviously have the more more star power. I apologize. Ollie wants me to throw his toy. Ollie, ready? Can you go over? Can you place? Go to gridiron golf. Sit. No, sit. There we go. He's a good boy.
He is.
He's a good boy. Ready? Hiya. Okay, not. You know what?
We'll work on it.
We'll work on that. But it's going to be a fantastic series, and they both came up in big situations to win the game. And the postseason is a different beast, Zach. It's a different animal. Everyone we've talked to has explained how you got to throw out everything that happened in the regular season. It's what you do in those moments. And that's why truly you get in, you give yourself a chance. And we got to talk with Buck Showalter last week, Zach. And Buck was even asked when we talked to him, what's it like managing the postseason and how is it so different than the regular season and even the last month, September, where you're trying to fight for a playoff spot? So let's play that clip for you guys.
There's 4 times you manage in a year. You manage a certain way in spring training to get your club ready to start the season. Especially that last week is so precious. I always tried to have night games to get everybody's clock on that time zone because you're up so early in the spring playing day games at the end, and they really cooperated. But then there's the regular season game that you manage where you're always playing the long game. You know, you may not always put your best foot forward in the extra inning game so that your pitching staff stays intact for the long haul. It's a cat and mouse game. Then there's this thing called September baseball, September call-up, when you got a couple extra players. Back then, you might have 10 extra players. It's not as pronounced as it used to be, but there's a little different way you manage in September with that sense of urgency. And then there's October baseball, where it's that game, that pitch, that inning, the heck with tomorrow for the most part, and you try to win each game, let the smoke clear, and then see where you're standing. And it's funny, you know, some people try to attack it with openers and this and that, whatever. And it's fascinating to me the teams that carry 13 pitchers or 12 pitchers. Somebody carried 11. You know, there's a different dynamic there they tell you the way they're going to play the game by the way they do their rosters sometimes. That's why. But the game, there's a sense of urgency and a sense of finality. The first time these great teams that have had a great season come to the park knowing, like, for instance, the Mets are coming to the park. They know that if they lose the next 2 games, their season's over. But they could win tonight. There's just a different brain set that guys have in the playoffs. There's a sense of finality to every day.
There is. And they're playing like there's no tomorrow. And you actually saw it in this championship series, by the way. Dodgers had bullpen games. They actually did it against the Padres.
Yeah.
And even the game that they had to win, they went bullpen game.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the Guardians, they went to their bullpen early and often early in the series. And you don't blame the Guardians. Why? They were the number 1 bullpen in all of baseball. But guess what? They weren't in the biggest moments of the season. That pressure, the stress. Maybe you're seeing a lot of the same guys. You can say, hey, you're getting to feel them. Or just maybe the moment changes. You're pitching on back-to-back games. Some guys are being put in situations that they've never been put in. And that's what we saw so far in that series. And literally, you cannot like the Yankees. That's fine. But that series with the Guardians and the clutch moments that they had from their big guys, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Juan Soto, I got a clip. I'm going to break this down in a second. But Juan Soto's at bat. It's a reason why, you know what, give him a check and whatever he wants happens, because Juan Soto went to the Yankees. And you can say, oh, could they be a World Series contender? The answer was yes.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees aren't going to the World Series without Juan Soto. He single-handedly changed how the Yankees were viewed for the 2024 season. Not Aaron Judge, who is a fantastic player, because we already knew what he was, but Juan Soto just showed his value in the regular season and in baseball's brightest stages.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you always knew that the addition of Juan Soto was going to be a game changer. That was going to be the difference to take them over the top. And I think what we saw throughout this entire year was Aaron Judge was the best player in the American League. Aaron Judge, you could argue, was the best player in Major League Baseball. But I think Juan Soto was the most important player to the New York Yankees, because he was that guy who he came in, he it's the bats he takes. He fights for every single at bat. There's never an easy at bat. He's going to take tough pitches. He's going to foul off as we were about to break down. He's going to wait for his pitch. And then, my goodness, when he gets it, it is rare that Juan Soto, doesn't matter the moment, doesn't matter if it's 10-0 in the third or it's a tied game in the ALCS Game 6, he is going to find a way to come up with the big hit.
Yeah, no, he there's a few phrases you can use. A lot of people like to say, he wants to mess some things up. The explicit version of that is Juan's going to fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And like, I know, I'm sorry for everyone. I locker room, grew up in that culture of it. But you got to have that screw that mentality. Juan Soto has that screw that mentality. Okay. And in this at bat, I'm going to show you this. This is a reason why people are saying, does he deserve the money? Yes. Yes, he deserves the money because he's not afraid of the big moment, and he's proven it again. 2019 with the Nats, obviously the pitching was a big part of it. You know who else was a big part of that? Juan Soto. And specifically, I'm going to break down this at-bat then for it. And I think I put it in here, right? There it is. I got it. All right. We got to talk about this. All right. This is the at-bat here, and then we're going to move on to football, okay? So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do it Monday and Thursday. And we also do a pregame show when the Ravens are playing. So stop traffic. Zach, I'm pretty sure the Ravens are playing tonight.
Ooh.
And we're extending then the show to really dive into Ravens and Bucs here. So stay with us. We are getting into that. But I got a baseball background. I got an itch for talking about amazing moments. I don't care if it's Yankees. And by the way, Zach, talk about Soto. I've seen this kid do it since he was 17 years old. I remember the first day he came over with the Washington Nationals from the Dominican Republic, and they said, this is the best hitter in the organization. And all of us went, bullshit. And then after a year in America, and he just was at the lowest levels, you went, damn. And they got Bryce Harper and Ryan Zimmerman and Jason Worth up in the big leagues. And this guy was that damn good. And it's his approach with two strikes. Well, let's go through this at bat real quickly. Hunter Gaddis is on the mound, one of their best arms here. And you know what? You're going to see the first pitch, slider in. Juan's feeling good. I know he's got that Soto shuffle. He's feeling great. Now this next one, bottom of the zone, he's going to go, don't like it. Gave it to him. So what? Now 1-1 count. He's going to get another slider, and it's going to be over the heart of the plate here, right? So Soto is going to spin off it a little bit, a little out in front, out of sorts. But here's the thing, 1-2 count, Zach. How many two-strike home runs were in the series? There was a ton.
Yeah.
A ton.
Seems like every one of them.
But this dude, he actually, and I'm curious, I wanted to get the side angle, Juan will widen out with two strikes. Juan has this mentality is, I don't care what's going to happen, but what I do know is you are going to have to make your best pitch over and over again because I'm not going to give in. So here's an example right here. His changeup's going to go on the front hip. So to a lefty here, Zach, when you're thinking changeup, and usually it's going away from the batter, right? And you're usually trying to throw it in that bottom third of the zone, falling off the plate. He's going to run this almost at Juan's front hip. So when he throws this, right? So Juan's going, oh, wow, this is a different look. And it's starting in, and it's going to go across the middle of the plate. That's a really hard pitch for a lefty to hit. He spoils it, right? It's like, damn, I'm off balance. All right, Hunter Gaddis still's got him on the ropes, right? Then they're like, all right, we're going to go slider here. It's going to be a backdoor slider. Try to get Juan off of that changeup or try to mix him up. And Juan has a nice emergency hack. Man, fouls it right down the line. He's staying alive. But this is the part. Watch Juan after this. I'm going to play it for a second. Watch his body language. Yep, shakes his head. Yep, I got you. If you listen to him after the game, he goes, I got him. And I wanted him to know I got him. So now Gaddis is going, man, I can't put him away with my changeup. Slider, he's just battling. Let me try to go high heater. And you can see his face. He's locked in. And they're going, hey, elevated the fastball. The one thing, and this wasn't a bad pitch, by the way, Zach, but the one thing you can see, they're going, hey, we need to get this fastball up. We can't give Juan a chance if it's near the zone because of just how good he is. It's a pretty good pitch by Hunter, but it's not exactly where he wanted to locate it. and you gave Juan a chance, and Juan at the top of the zone hits a 95-mile-an-hour heater to change the complexion of the game and send the New York Yankees to the World Series. The dude is unbelievable. You can talk about whatever it is. This guy is one of the best hitters for a reason. He's a guy that embraces two-strike hitting. You're talking about situational hitting. Juan's the blueprint. You can go back and watch it bat after at bat for him. The dude knows how to battle, and you got to give credit where credit's due. The Yankees came through with 2 strikes. I know O's fans, that was the part. I wasn't lying. It's execution. The Yankees, they weren't always moving it on or passing the baton. They went big ball a lot. You can go big ball, but you got to be able to battle in the counts. Juan Soto and the boys battle in the counts. Hey, and John, you know what? Like, yeah, maybe I got a little man crush on Soto. I was teammates with the dude too, you know? Yeah. So there's a lot of guys that can get mad with Juan and how his antics are. I think I have so much respect for how hard he works. I have so much respect for what he does. And I would say the same thing about a lot of the Orioles guys too. I guess maybe I just have man crushes Zach on guys that
get the job done in the big moment.
Yeah.
Just consistency.
And I know how much work they're putting into it. I mean, still with the O's guys too. The scratch and claw. I guess some people thought I had a man crush on Seti, which obviously.
I mean, when you see the playoffs,
yeah,
guys showed up.
Cedric Mullins, baby, get those socks out for Seti. But
we should do that when we get merch. Just Seti socks.
Yeah, Seti. Oh,
just Seti socks.
And we'll get a shirt there next year. Sniff those socks.
Sniff those socks.
Oh man, but nonetheless, World Series set. We'll talk about a lot of that in the future here. But now we got to dive deeper into our regular programming here. And that is a wild week 7 so far here as the Ravens and Bucs get ready to kick off tonight. Obviously, we're going to touch on that a lot in the future. But the big storyline for tonight, Zach, the Buccaneers are playing some really damn good football, and specifically Baker Mayfield. Baker is an MVP type player right now. He is slinging it. They got 2 great wide receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who looks like that Chris Godwin from a few years ago, Zach, that just catches everything, makes an impact. The Bucs, it's kind of up and down defensively with them. You know, we understand Todd Bowles' background as a defensive coach, but they're a little banged up from what we were talking about, correct?
Yeah.
So it'll be curious to see what's going to happen with them. Obviously, then on the Ravens side, what's the number 1 passing offense and rushing offense, just total offense in the NFL. You got the best running back in football. We think they got the best quarterback right now in the NFL, and Lamar Jackson for the 2024 season. Zay Flowers is catching stride and playing extremely well. Rashad Bateman is picking it up moment by moment. The one thing, I guess, that'd be the Achilles heel that we talk about for the Ravens is defensively, are they going to continue to mesh stopping the pass? Are they going to the miscommunications in the secondary? And we'll actually have Qadri Ismail is going to join us later to talk about this game around 5:45. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot to talk about there. Am I missing anything else from this game to start?
No, I think this is going to be a fun game. Maybe not if you're a big fan of defense. I think it's going to be one of those games. We talk about the Ravens needing to get their pass coverage down, Pat. So no easier assignment than good old Mr. 1,000 yards himself, Mike Evans. And then you just have to cover Chris Godwin. And, oh, by the way, Baker Mayfield is like top in the league in passing yards. And I mean, obviously not right now because everyone else has played an extra game, but just if we talk about like a per game basis. So yeah, should be a fun game. Hopefully it's going to be a good litmus test. I'm excited.
Yeah. I will say if Baker scores 28.71 fantasy points, I am going to attach some anchors and I'm going to just jump right into the harbor.
Yeah,
it means 2 things.
Yeah,
2 things.
Last night I just needed literally like 3 more points from Bonte.
You know what? You and me both for a lot of reasons. I'm up 28.7 in my one specifically for fantasy here. But that means if Baker gets that many points, Zach, I mean, just do the math. Ravens probably lose that game. And 2 means that they threw for a lot of yards. So it's going to be really curious. And Mike Evans, by the way, that's just greatness. It's been a greatness for a decade. just greatness. So I'm excited for it. He actually is one of my favorite players to watch too, just pros pro. But hopefully tonight the Ravens are able to keep him in check, because we know Mike Evans is their big red zone target. He can make a play at any point. And Chris Godwin now across the middle of the field and really anywhere is a player that does damage. And the running back room they have some solid players, but the Ravens we know are good against the run, and we'll see how that all unfolds here. And I think this is Baker and Lamar's 10th meeting now, I believe.
They've met a ridiculous amount of times.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy, especially with all the places that Baker's been. They can't stay away from each other.
They can't. And Baker's had some moments. There's no doubt about it here. But why don't we'll take a quick moment and pause here before we dive into the rest of the Ravens Bucs. We got to talk about what happened yesterday for a lot of reasons. And maybe we start around the AFC North. Probably a good place to start.
Yeah.
Probably, and the biggest probably talking point in the AFC North is not Pittsburgh, which good for them, good win for them. It's the Cleveland Browns. And we knew that they were a bad team. But now Deshaun Watson, who had historically one of the worst seasons so far as a quarterback in the National Football League, he is officially done for the year. Ruptured Achilles. He's done. And there's so much behind this conversation, Zach. So there was people that were cheering the injury, people that were booing him before the game. And then obviously there's the logistics of how much the contract of Deshaun is now going to rear its ugly head for this team. And you made up a good point about where they are for this year for salary cap. So we'll get into that. But why don't we play the first video? Because players like Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett talked about the situation. Got very, very complicated, maybe to put it that way. So Chris Canty was talking earlier, and I think he did a pretty good job of at least explaining that there's more context that needs to be addressed here. So let's play that clip and react on the other side.
Conversation for me to have, because I feel like the fans in Cleveland were booing because of Deshaun Watson's poor play, and happy that he got out of there. So hopefully the team can get better quarterback play. I'm not sure how much the 24 sexual misconduct cases factored into their emotions in that particular moment. But when I hear Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston call for empathy for Deshaun Watson, that's cringe. Where was the empathy for the 24 victims to his sexual misconduct? And then them being forced to relive that trauma after the Cleveland Browns give Deshaun Watson $230 million. Where's your empathy for how they felt in that moment, for how victims of sexual abuse might feel in that moment, seeing somebody being accused of something so despicable be rewarded in that fashion? That's the part where the players got to be careful with that line. I mean, LeBron James came out yesterday and talked about how lame it was for the Cleveland fans to boo Watson when he got hurt. Did you come out and talk about how lame it was with Deshaun Watson having 24 sexual misconduct cases? That's where you got to be careful as a player when it comes to issues like this. And I understand wanting to defend your teammate. I understand that bunker mentality. You know, I'm in the foxhole with my guy, and I got to defend my guy. There was nothing wrong with those players coming out and saying it lacks class for the Cleveland Browns fans to boo when Deshaun Watson got hurt. Period, end sentence. Leave it there. For you to go out there and make calls for empathy shows a complete lack of awareness, and something about that has to change. It is completely insensitive, and those players who thought they were doing the right thing could not have been more wrong in that moment with their commentary.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there, a lot to unpack. And not saying that I'm agreeing with how everything that Chris Canty was saying, but the point that we're trying to differentiate here, and this is where the Browns, and for Browns fans, I just feel bad for in a lot of senses, right? Your team is terrible. You signed this contract with Deshaun Watson when all of these allegations are still going on in this process. And we know this is just the reality, Zach. This isn't how I feel about that situation. The reality, when you play well in the field, it kind of diminishes everything that could be going on off of the field. It will silence it, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also the fact that these allegations happen. So a lot of people have a lot of different feelings about what happened. And Canty did talk about the allegations. There's no doubt they were concerning. So, and you have a lot of other people to think about in this situation, right? So I think what Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston on this case were trying to defend a teammate of seeing what he was doing, the work in the building. Like, hey, he was showing up every day. And they went a little bit too far, Zach. Is that fair to say where it crossed that boundary? Because in my mind, if you said, hey, he shows up every day, we know what's happening outside of here, but he's coming to work each day, and left it there, I think that we could, you can live with that. But it got a little bit too dicey there. And I think that there is a truth to that. Is that, are we on the same page with that?
Exactly. If there was something of, I don't think anyone should be, cheered when they're injured, stuff like that. He's putting in the work, he's trying to be better each day, stuff like that. It was the Myles Garrett calling him, he's been a model citizen.
That's a part. Exactly.
That's where I think people really had the issue, is saying, oh, for most of his career, he's been a model citizen. That's when it's like, Myles, what are we talking about right now? Like, there's just no reason to bring any of that up. I think you're right. I think Chris Kane's right. You say, hey, he's in there putting in work every day. We hate to see someone like that go down. You leave it at that. When you start bringing up stuff of he's been a model citizen, he's been this great guy, that's when it starts to get past the point. And I think he just kind of put himself in a conversation that he really probably doesn't want to be involved in.
Yeah. And I think that it's the wording. It's the choice of what you're willing to talk about here. I think Brad just joined, by the way, from behind the scenes. If he's there, no, he's not back yet here. So anyway, he's all over the place. But anyway, what we're going with there, this is the conversation where people are saying about, hey, you never want to wish someone to get injured, but it was the after comments that stirred a reaction here, right? But we understand what's out there. Allegations, a lot of the civil suits, and then on top of it, that the Browns
football play, very poor football play.
The Browns paid him a guaranteed contract with all this going on. Hasn't played well. Browns are one of the worst teams in football. And then on top of it now, let's talk about what it means. Adam Schefter was talking with Pat McAfee earlier, and they changed some things around, but look how screwed the Browns are cap-wise here moving forward.
I mean, I know the dead cap's like 100 and something million, but if he was to say, I don't want to come back, what would the money do? Then how would it go? Do we know any of that information?
Yeah, I have it all here for you. He has a cap hit in 2025 of $72.9 million.
No matter what.
No matter what. And he's got a cap hit in 2026 of, again, $72.9 million.
No matter what.
72.9, no matter what, the next 2 years.
What's that, 145.8 million over the next 2 years? That would be much bigger than the Russell Wilson.
Just under 146 million the next 2 years. Now, again, he's due next year. I think the cap, those are the two cap numbers, because they redid the contract at the beginning of this year. They pushed money back into next year and the year after. His cap charge this year is $20 million. So they pushed back some of that money to matching $72.9 million cap charges.
So right there, almost 146 million are due. Almost 73 million a year in dead cap. That then again, for those that don't understand what that means, no matter if Deshaun's on the roster or not, that's money counted against the Browns no matter what happens. So they're screwed with that. And then you made a point. They restructured his contract, Zach, before the season specifically for this year.
Yeah. This was kind of a year that the Browns thought that they had a chance to win the Super Bowl. They thought Deshaun Watson coming back, he would be at that level that you saw a Houston Deshaun Watson. Not necessarily. We've seen spurts of it, flashes here and there in Cleveland. But they expected to get back kind of that upper echelon quarterback. So what did they do? They moved cap money around. They went out and said, hey, we want to go for it this year. We're going to go trade for Jerry Jeudy. We're going to go restructure Amari Cooper's contract. They made all these restructures around, hey, we want to win this year. We'll figure out the rest of it when that comes. Now, as you said, Rip, we're 7 weeks in for the Browns. They have a single win. And you sit here, they now don't have that quarterback. He's going to be, even if you now are like, okay, we're keeping Deshaun, we're still believing in him because I guess with the contract, you kind of have to keep him. This is now a quarterback coming off who isn't playing well, an Achilles injury. So it's just, this is a horrendous spot for Cleveland to be in. This is kind of to the point of, even when, I mean, we were talking beforehand, mock drafts are talking about which quarterback Cleveland should target in the top 5. So Cleveland is completely restarting right now. This is a horrible spot to be in.
It's terrible. It's bad. And you made a good point here. And I think to give the context of it, I think Kevin McNellis said this right here. Said from the beginning it was a mistake. Even without the allegations, no other quarterback has missed that time and come back with any productivity other than Michael Vick.
Yeah.
When Michael Vick went to prison and came back and was with Andy Reid, one of the best play callers and offensive minds the game has ever seen. Only did we see Michael Vick. I think it's a great point. Deshaun Watson during the 2020 season had 33 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. He was a guy.
Yeah.
He didn't play at all in 2021 and then had to serve a suspension in 2022. And then he only played 6 games. And then last year, 6 games and got hurt for the season. And then now, once again, 7 games.
He's played 19 total games for the Browns. This is 3 years into this deal. 19 total games, and it's not like they've been that productive.
Oh, goodness gracious, man. And you know what? And the only one that can blame themselves for putting themselves in this situation is the Browns. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. That team should have been better. And I think it's a great way to prove it. The highest win percentages in the last year are 2 former Raven quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco, when he took over. And Joe Flacco was the backup, and now obviously the backup for the Colts. It just goes to show you they were winning with the roster that they had regardless.
I mean,
it's a mess there.
I know obviously we can move on after this quick point, but it brings up the oldest point in the book. It feels like when we talk about the Browns over the past few years. Imagine if they didn't trade away all those assets for Deshaun Watson and they just stuck with a Baker Mayfield. Gosh. This team, the talent on this roster, plus you add in all the assets, those first and second round picks that you'd be using in the draft. Now, the Browns aren't the greatest drafting franchise, so I'm not going to assume they were all the best home run picks, but still you have to assume you'd hit some sort of talent in those opportunities. Then you also have that extra cap because you wouldn't be paying Baker this much money. So it really is one of those things where you sit there and you think, if you're a Cleveland fan, they had the guy who took them out of misery, and then they threw him away.
If there's one other thing that the Browns did horribly wrong besides giving the contract, was how they scapegoated Baker Mayfield for their issues as an organization.
Yep.
You almost derailed a player's career. And I'm not saying, I think even Baker talked about it. He was doing all the commercials then, and maybe there's more eyes on him. And people,
he was a star.
Well, people wanted to then see him fail, right? It's the same thing in a different case. Like Travis Kelce now has become more of a villain to people than the guy he was 3 or 4 years ago, because the Chiefs are playing well, because of that they have won. He's a great player. And then, by the way, everything else he's doing and who he's dating, right? Baker Mayfield, what the worst thing he did was he played his ass off for your organization. He helped change your organization around from being an absolute shit show. And then how he's rewarded is you scapegoated him out. And guess what? Now he's playing like an MVP. Good for Baker Mayfield. And that's the reason why Cleveland has not been able to stay relevant since Baltimore moved here. And I feel bad for Cleveland fans. You got to live with it. And I hate to tell you, it doesn't look like it's getting any better when you look at the other teams in the division and who they have and the stability that the Ravens and Steelers have in their organizations. I think Cincy, as long as Joe Burrow there, they're going to be pretty damn good too. So that's all I got to say about that. I think Brad's now ready. We can bring him on for a second here. Hey, Brad.
Dude, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A beautiful hat, by the way.
Perfect.
I didn't know if you want to say any final words on the subject before we move on.
No, I appreciate you bringing me on for that. So, like, I kind of came in midway through the conversation, but the thing of it is, I think for the fans, and we talked about this before, Rip, you don't want to excuse celebrating a guy going through some sort of season-ending injury like that, but at the same time, it's almost kind of like, because not just with the off-field stuff, but the way that he's, of course, been playing in the way that the organization has handled this entire situation, it all came to a head. And so the way that I'm looking at the fans' reaction is more about, a culmination of everything that's led up to this point, not the specific event all by itself. If that makes sense.
Yep. No, it's a culmination of a lot of things, but I think the common denominator is what the Browns have been. And what they have been is a organization that lacks stability. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that, man. I mean,
right.
Oh my goodness, man. And they got talent. That's the thing, is they have talent, but they're a shell of what they can be.
Yeah. And they screwed over Baker big time.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Now Baker's all pissed and he's trying to take it out on the Ravens tonight. I mean, like, look what you've created now. Carolina also tried to ruin Baker too, by the way. But
I'll never forget that video of him taking reps at defensive tackle in practice in Carolina. Now he's a MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Life comes at you fast.
Life comes at you fast. And you know what? He even says it helped him get to the point. Talk about adversity. So for anyone that's out there, you think your career can be derailed or some shit can happen? Yeah, he was a number one pick. He was a guy that had things going for him, and in an instant, people didn't think he could be a starting NFL quarterback again. That's how bad it got. Yeah. And then they thought, oh, maybe it'll work out. Well, yeah, I think it's worked out pretty well. The Buccaneers are a contending team in the NFC because of Baker Mayfield. So it's fantastic. And I think, should we go from one organization that's had a lot of mishaps to another?
Yeah, I did want to, before we did, I wanted to shout out Nick. Nick gave me this hat. It is a one-of-a-kind number 46. So it's assigned to Nick. So shout out Nick for give me the hat.
Yeah, that's part of setting up the studio.
Yeah.
Setting up the studio, that was part of the fee. You give Brad a thick-ass hat.
We were in a group chat. I said I wanted a Crucial Catch hat, and Nick's just like, I got you, bro. So then, pretty cool.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah.
Real fast one to bring this up. Appreciate it. And breaking news officially, Brandon Aiyuk is out for the year. So
that's our Adam Schefter right there.
Yeah. One, just real fast, I think it is a conversation of this is why players fight for these big contracts, because had he not gotten that deal and this happened, I'll tell you who would be screwed. It's Brandon Aiyuk. He would never see the money that he got. Now you can talk about his play has been off this year and talk about how he should have been in training camp. I agree with both of those, but this is the reason why these players go for these contracts on contract years, because if he would have stepped out there on his current deal and this happens, this is career derailing type thing.
I understand it from a player perspective, but I also understand it from like a business perspective. Like, this has got to drive general managers absolutely batshit crazy.
Oh yeah.
Because like, this is exactly why they don't want to give guaranteed money, because 6 weeks into the season, now your guy is out for the rest of the year. And so it's kind of like the Deshaun situation, not to go back to that, but like, you're going to give a guy all that guaranteed money and he's only going to play half the time because he's riddled with injuries. And so like, that's the part that sucks. Like, I do feel for the players. They deserve all the money that they got coming to them. But at the same time, it's like, God damn, man, from a business perspective, it's just got to be maddening.
It's hard. It's hard for a lot of different reasons there, but that's the part of it. Like, Aiyuk earned his contract. He was playing at a high level, got to the point. But Zach, you're right. If Aiyuk got hurt without the guaranteed deal or just having that contract locked in, he's done it. You can even look at it every professional sport here. I mean, baseball, think about all the years guys got to go through arbitration before they can get a second contract. And what if they fizzle out by 29, 30 years old? And that's the case where we go back to like the Chris Davis thing. Chris Davis was dominant for those years. One of the best hitters. He got then his contract at an age where then the decline was starting. And then it really went downhill for a lot of different reasons. We're not going to get into that right. But see what I mean? They're paying for contracts for guys of what you've done, not necessarily what you're going to do for moving forward, at least in baseball. Football,
football with the salary cap, you kind of have to.
Yeah, you have to.
You know, that's why so many guys get cut, even though they're not necessarily playing horribly. It's just what their cap number is. But I agree, in baseball, it's more of, okay, you were kind of underpaid for 7 years of your career.
Yeah, get paid.
Yeah. I think in football, it's a little more with the cap. They're like, we need to get at least the good organizations.
Yeah.
Understand you have to get every penny's worth.
Yeah. Get that money. Well, let's go to another organization that's been having some trouble here, and some mishaps, and talk about being in mediocrity for a long time and really haven't had seasons to hang their hat on since he got fired. And that's Rex Ryan being fired from the Jets.
Jets.
Woof, man. I got to tell you what, that game on Sunday night, 15-6, it looked like they were starting to figure things out. They're flying around. Russell Wilson looked like he was still trying to get in that mode. And all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers throws that pick right before the half. Great play by Bishop Jr., by the way. Turning around, extends his arm, makes a play, right? And then the Steelers rack off, 31 unanswered points.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jets lose again and now sit at 2-5. And this is the part, and it's comical to me, the reaction here, but you know who loves to see the Jets kind of in misery?
Who's that?
Bill Belichick. So Bill Belichick hopped right on to talk to Pat McAfee and wasted zero time having a conversation about how he feels about the New York Jets.
He's a man who loves the New York Jets.
Loves them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest coach of all time and the greatest general manager of all time, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Coach, how are you doing, pal?
Good, Pat. Good. How's it going?
Good.
Hey,
go ahead.
You're a little too hard on me on those Jets. I thought Coach Law did a good job with that team, rebuilding the culture and all that. Last 2 weeks, I don't know. I don't know if they were a lot better on defense when he was there.
Okay, so is that something that maybe is not being talked about, is the absence of solid defensive strategy with how their entire playing? And what are your thoughts on this Jets season? They're seemingly going all in here. 2-5, whatever the record is, not great at this standpoint. You think they have enough talent to turn it around, or what are you seeing from this Jets team?
Well, I just don't understand the head coaching move, that's all. But, I mean, the Jets are the Jets, and, Woody's Woody, so Woody's Woody.
He's an ambassador. He's an ambassador, Johnson, not Wood, Ambassador Johnson. Bill, obviously.
Yeah. So is this a big AFC East show today? Is that the story?
So,
Woody's going to Woody.
The Jets are the Jets, and Woody is Woody.
Woody is Woody.
Like how that's how you're just calling out the owner of the Jets here. And obviously, for those that forget, Bill Belichick was the Jets head coach for literally a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then where he infamously wrote that he was resigning on the napkin. Man, the Jets, but it's a good way to describe it. The move, if they thought Robert Saleh was the reason why this team's not playing well, and also who fires a coach during the season where I actually was I'm genuinely curious. I don't know, Brad, Zach, if you guys can think, where you fire a head coach mid-season and you go on and win the Super Bowl.
Head coach, no.
I can't think of one.
Obviously,
offensive coordinator. We've seen it. Ravens.
Yeah. So, but no, if we're talking, and it's the same argument I had I'll even go one step further. Last offseason, when people were talking about bringing in Mike McDonald as the head coach of the Ravens over Harbaugh, it's hard to just switch the culture like that, especially for a first-time head coach, and go and win a Super Bowl. So if anyone knows anything about building a culture that can win Super Bowls, I'm going to trust Bill Belichick. And if anyone knows about the dysfunctionality of the New York Jets, it's Bill Belichick. I mean, he's seen it firsthand and as an opposing coach for decades. So the Jets are the Jets. It made no sense at the time, especially when your bread and butter was, like Bill said, they played damn good defense. They were a good defensive team. and you needed to figure out what's happening on offense. So they fired their defensive-minded coach and then promoted another defensive-minded. So I don't know. And the offense, Devontae was here to save the day. He didn't. Maybe Randall Cobb is next to
join him.
Yeah. I also real fast want to say I love that it's inevitable. No matter how many star players play with Aaron Rodgers recently, it's always Alan Lazard's team. It's just always Alan Lazard's team.
And it's his world.
It's just his world.
And we're living in it. And,
Here-
and also,
here's-
go ahead, Brad.
I was just gonna say, so the thing with Woody too, clearly didn't look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, look, even if the first part of the season was rough, and let's just say you keep Solly, you bring Devontae Adams in, your defensive scheme stays the same, it would have been easy for them to rip off 6 of the next 7 games. I mean, next week they got New England, then there's Houston. They're probably going to lose that game indefinitely. Arizona, Indianapolis, Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville, the Rams, Buffalo, Miami. I mean, they could, if they had stuck with their original game plan and their original scheme, they could have probably won the next 10 out of 12 games. 10 out of 12 games, I could say, are all winnable for the Jets if that defense was still performing the way that it was performing from the beginning of the year.
And they're getting Reddick back. Or not
supposedly. Yeah.
Allegedly.
But honestly, the timeline for all this for them. Last year, Rodgers is the one that has the Achilles injury. We know what happened there. Yeah. Zach Wilson wasn't the guy. Then they wanted to put all the blame on him. And then you come back and you give benefit to the doubt. I give benefit to the doubt to start off saying, hey, it happened with Peyton Manning and the Broncos when he went there. Offense took a while to get going. Rodgers is trying to come back, but he was older than Peyton when Peyton went to Denver. On top of it, then the pressure of New York of like, hey, we need to do this right now. And there was definitely already turmoil. It was just passing the issue off to somebody else instead of addressing it. I will say, I'm going to pull up this clip. They asked Aaron, what's the thing for you guys to keep belief in the locker room? Actually, it's kind of funny, the first answer, but then I want to continue on with it because the next thing's about with accountability. But let me pull that clip up on Twitter. Let me present. Key and Pill says present. Let's
present.
Here it is. Let me play this clip for you. Ready? Can you guys see it?
Yep.
There we go.
You get everybody to keep the belief, and it seems like a lot of the same mistakes.
Stop listening to you guys. Number one. Number two, got to be accountable. I got to play better. That's the key. I got to play better. We got to find a way to run the ball better so we can action pass. I thought did some nice things in the passing game. Brees obviously had a couple of really nice ones. Spread the ball around to Tay, G, and Allen. Mike had a nice conversion. But we got to run the ball better, and I got to play better.
So to be fair, the Jets are banged up in the secondary. Like their team is a shell of a defense that they were to start the year. Having said that, they were dominating the game until the pick at the end of the first half. It was 15-6. Now, the only thing I bring up right there, it's a good message. You can't listen to the outside noise. You got to focus. But you can tell there is, by the day, more frustrations building inside the building, outside the building. Accountability is a great word, but the ironic thing is that I don't feel like there's been a lot of accountability with the Jets.
None.
It feels like every other person has been blamed on the Jets except the actual Jets. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't played well. Their offensive line hasn't played well. Russell Wilson and it's your favorite line, did his high knees.
Yeah.
And then came in and they put up 37 on a top 10 defense. 37 in 2 quarters. They put up 31 points.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want to put all the blame on the Jets defense because like you said, the injuries, Sauce going out. The secondary is a shell of itself, and the offense set them up in horrendous position. I mean, the one time was literally on the 1 yard line. They had a bunch of times where they were just starting in positive territory, the Steelers, that is, because of the Jets' lack of offense, but it does start with Aaron Rodgers. It's just one of those things where, yeah, you can talk about obviously the ball that goes off, the numbers for Garrett Wilson, stuff like that completely changed the game. But multiple times, especially with Devontae Adams and across the middle with Garrett Wilson, he had guys open. And I'm not just talking like, oh, there was a window. These guys were at one point, Devontae Adams was coming across on a crossing route.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And Patrick Queen was 10 yards behind him, trailing him. If he hits Devontae in the numbers, it's 40 yards. They're sitting in the end zone. I've seen them run that play a million times, and it works. And Rodgers just flat out missed him. He just flat out missed him. And those are the things that are holding the Jets back. It's not Robert Saleh. It's not the defense, the injured defense. It's the fact that even when the opportunities are there, they are not getting the job done. They're not finishing drives. They're going down the field and then making mistakes. Multiple times yesterday, they'd have a big play followed up by a 5-yard false start, a holding. It was just over and over. This team consistently shoots themselves in the foot.
Well, and ironically, they almost shot themselves in the foot by challenging, and then Ober couldn't get the challenge flag on the field.
It's the best fumble they've had all year.
And then they score. Shirts and pants, man. I'll tell you what, I want to see. And also, if Devontae Adams caught that crossing route, a lot of people that might have taken over 50 yards receiving for Devontae Adams, who had 30 at the break, by the way.
Yep. Oh, don't worry. Why do you think I remember all the routes, Devontae? All 9 targets that he had. Only caught 3.
Oh, man.
How about the other side of the ball? Russell Wilson, better than Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think.
What about that take? I mean, like, just so everybody was giving Mike Tomlin such a hard time, and I think rightfully so. The Steelers were in great shape. Justin Fields was getting them there, getting the dubs. But my God, I mean, Russell Wilson comes out and it's like having a field day out there. Like as you said, Rip, hanging on 37 points and 31 unanswered in the second half. Look, Steelers look kind of dangerous if this is how it's going to go the rest of the season for them.
Well, the crazy thing is Russ was like 16 of 29 throwing, and they had 6 points with about a minute and 40 seconds to go, 30 seconds to go, whatever it was.
In the first half, yeah.
In the first half. And then Russ gets that one connect, and then Russ was starting to heat up. Russ started to cook.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, then the damage was done, and then that pick where Garrett Wilson hit off his chest and then intercepted.
That was the floodgates. That threw everything off.
And then we're off to the race.
I think it's interesting when you look at his pass chart. Russell Wilson just lived in the flats. Like they just lived in the flats the entire time. It was pretty much nothing across the middle of the field. So he was taking what the defense was giving him, and then every single deep play, it wasn't necessarily, ooh, what a incredible throw. It was their offense was, we're just going to keep chipping away, and then we're just going to toss it near George Pickens. And George Pickens had about 3 of the best catches you will ever see. Yeah. You can say a lot about George Pickens' attitude, about his off-the-field stuff. In a jump ball situation, there are very few players in
he's elite.
That I would take over George Pickens. And I think that is legitimately what the Steelers' offense is going to be. It's going to be dink and dunk, establish the run game. Russell Wilson throws one of the most, even at 35 years old, that deep ball, it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
He's up there with Flacco for
the
best
touch.
Look. It's incredible. If he and George Pickens can find a connection like that, I agree with Brad. This offense takes on a whole nother level that I didn't think they could do. I still think that Justin Fields long-term is the answer there. But it's hard to bench Russ after this past week.
Did you say dink and duck or dick and duck?
Dink and dunk.
Okay. I mean, both work.
It's Russ. So, I mean, he has some weird, he's one of those guys with a million different weird phrases. So,
hey, they tried in the post game, they tried to have him say, hey, what's your Steelers saying? He goes, we'll wait till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like he's like, we're not doing that. Yeah. So I like that. I also love when Mike Tomlin also was asked about making the switch. Such a badass comment there. I don't know if I put that video in here.
The Lone Ranger
about being highly compensated.
Oh yeah.
Where they asked Mike Tomlin at the podium and he just goes, Yeah, it's, I get compensated like heavily to make those calls.
Because he was the only
I
one.
know what I'm doing.
He was the only one who got the, I think it was according to Jay Glazer. Mike Tomlin told him he was a lone wolf on the decision. Everyone else in the building seemed to think 4-2, you stick with Justin Fields. And he said, no, we got Russell Wilson. And remember, when they got Russell Wilson, it was stated Russell Wilson's the starter. They got Justin Fields. It was stated, hey, Russell Wilson's the starter. They got to training camp. They stated Russell Wilson's the starter. He gets injured. And I think Tomlin just kind of was like, hey, just because we're 4-2, I want to see what we have. He said from the beginning he thought they had two very good quarterbacks. And, you go 4-2 with one of them. You bring in the next one, go 1-0. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
Hey, you know what? You might not like the Steelers, but you got to respect the hell out of Mike Tomlin. I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. I love it. We do not care. That's a great meme that will last till the end of time there.
Y'all know that ain't happening.
And if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe on Ryan Ripken's show. We do it live Monday and Thursday, and anytime that the Ravens are playing, we do a pregame live. But then, stop traffic. The Ravens play tonight, so we're combining the show. So as we get closer, we're going up till 7 p.m. We're going to really dive into this Ravens Bucs. Former Super Bowl champion and Baltimore Raven Qadri Ismail is going to join us to talk a little bit about this matchup, maybe have some Q's with Q, perhaps. So again, people, we'd love those answers. He's coming on around 5:45 to talk a little bit of ball here. And you know what? Just coaches in general, man, a lot of guys you want to you rally around, you play for, right? People play for Mike Tomlin. People get mad about stuff with John Harbaugh. People play for John Harbaugh. People play for Jim Harbaugh. You know who also plays for their coach, Zach?
Who's that?
Dan Campbell. The players play for Dan Campbell. Can we just play him? Just him being excited.
Hey, Mr. Bates! Where's Bates at? Get up here, Bates. Give the man his ball. Give the man his ball. Give the man his ball.
Hey, how about the offense getting us in position, man, with like a minute and a half left, getting down there, man. We trust you guys with everything. And then field goal line, man, I know that's like the worst job in the world. I really appreciate you guys. And then Hogan and Jack, man.
If you want his stats, he won the game. All right, I got one. Offense, 15 rushes, 116 yards. All right, 4 receptions, 44 yards. Got us down there, 160 all-purpose yards. Let's go, Jaw. Get up here, man.
I couldn't do any of this without y'all, coaches, players, the whole organization. Too. But yeah, like we say, only team that can beat us is ourselves. So let's take every game week by week. I love y'all. So.
Stay with me on offense. 8 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. Mr. St. Brown, let's go.
Love y'all, man.
All right, hey, last one on defense, man. 4 tackles, 1 interception, 2 pass breakup. Really had a punch up for a touchdown. All right, BB, come back up here.
Love y'all.
Hey, listen, man, to say that I'm proud of you would be the massive understatement. That's the way to come in here. Everything we talked about from the time we got to halftime to the way we had to finish it out, man. Composure, right? Communication, attitude, patience. My God, man, you guys didn't bat an eye. I love this freaking team. I love the coaches. I love the players. I love everything about it, man. We are so freaking hardened. Even when it doesn't go the way we want it to, man, you find a way. That is an outstanding win. We are 1-0 in the division, gentlemen. That's 1. Break it down.
So, how do you not want to root for that guy?
Oh, yeah.
He opened up his time again, reminding people that they were going to bite off some kneecaps. That's where we started. This is where we are right now. But I'll tell you what, man, like him, just how energetic and fired up he is for his guys. And then also they're a wagon. The Lions, that was a hell of a game. I mean, they almost gave it away. I wouldn't say gave it away. Vikings looked like they were going to steal it. And Jared Goff, dude. Jared Goff is balling. That was amazing. But Dan Campbell, it's coaches like that where players can revolve around, Brad, they gravitate towards. Like Dan Campbell now has put himself in that position. Players gravitate around him. clearly he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Players coach for sure. I just thought it was hilarious, the whole asshole attitude that they carry themselves with. That was like one of the things that he listed off going into this game. So, it's just he just makes you want to run through a brick wall every time he talks. He's got that Ray Lewis effect when it comes to speaking to players.
Oh yeah. It's just a different breed. And also, by the way, he talked about a unit. That dude, he's got to be the most jacked coach in all professional sports. Any of them.
Easily.
Any of them. But the Lions, they just knocked off the Vikings. Now there's only one undefeated team left in the NFL. And if you're new to that channel, hit that like and subscribe button again, by the way, here. And I was trying to see, I think we have that video we'll play next. But before we dive into the fun parts of, excuse me. Whew. The coffee. I got a little bit of the coffee heartburn going right now. I'll be honest.
Love it.
I think
there's Tums in the back room.
I might need some Tums. But in the meantime, why don't we have our first sponsor right now? Take a ride in our Adams Jeep before we continue riding around the NFL season here. An Adams Jeep up in Aberdeen. Wow, it's a casual drive right now. I'm feeling good. Feeling great, feeling wonderful. But you know what, guys? Stop traffic here. Adams Jeep, we always talk about, you got the Rocco Sucks up there. You use it. You can go and buy a used Jeep up there. They'll give you $1,000 in gas money for buying a vehicle up there. They got something new coming. Car enthusiasts, exciting news coming from Adams Jeep in Aberdeen. I'm actually reading this because this is what they said. Hey, we're excited about this. Join them for the grand opening of Adams Extreme Motorsports, the ultimate destination for off-road thrills and custom designs. And it doesn't have to be a Jeep product. It can be whether you drive a Toyota, Ford, Chevy. You can experience top-notch design and customization services, previously exclusive to Jeep owners for over 36 years. To commemorate this special occasion, offering a fantastic deal. You can buy 3 tires and get the 4th one for just $1. And plus, don't miss out on the amazing discount on custom wheels. And actually, by the way, I was just up there, got my tires fixed, by the way, Zach. We're working well. We're running fine. But rev up your ride and head to Adams Jeep today to elevate your driving experience. These deals won't last long, so hurry in and let's make your vehicle dreams a reality. Adams Jeep in Aberdeen, where adventure meets customization. Drive in today. Damn.
Woo. That's no joke either. They put that. I'm telling you, most dealerships will not even think about looking at 40-inch tires, and they put 40-inch tires on my Gladiator and did not bat an eye. Most of the time they'll tell you that, we can't balance this or what have you. Adams Jeep was more than happy to take care of me as well. And the truck looks great. The tires look awesome.
Oh, tires look great on there. And again, you buy the 3, you get the 4th one for $1. And also, by the way, they gave me a rental when my car was in the shop. Didn't want to give it back. It's like a 2024. It's a Grand Cherokee. Thing was riding so well. It's looking so sleek. I'll pull up the picture next time. But anyway, Adams Jeep of Maryland up in Aberdeen, 5 minutes from the Ironbird Stadium. Go check them out and tell them the Ryan Ripken Show sent you, and Rocco Sucks. They'll appreciate that too, especially Chuck and Matt. Guys, let's go to the other part. There's one undefeated team left in the NFL right now. And it's the defending Super Bowl champions, 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. That's right. The Kansas City Chiefs, in what was a very ugly game in San Francisco, found another way to win a game. Their defense played extremely well. Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, great game plan. They completely shut them down. But Mahomes and the offense, again, they're not playing very well, Zach. They're not firing on all cylinders. But they are making enough plays. One of the plays specifically was Patrick Mahomes' scamper for 30, 40 yards down the sideline, but it was the deke of it, right? It looked like he was going out of bounds, and instead, Patrick goes upfield, and everyone kind of stopped initially. And actually, former pass rush great Dwight Freeney commented on that on the Up and Adams show with Kay Adams about how those types of plays have become a little bit soft, in his opinion. Let's play that.
So let me tell you something. This play should have never happened. Now, this is a product. This is 100% a product of a couple of things.
Okay.
One, You can't touch quarterbacks. Everybody's scared to hit a quarterback these days, and you don't want to hit them, especially when it comes close to the sideline, because they protect them so much. So they're probably thinking in this point, hey, you know what? He's going to run out of bounds. We don't want to get a penalty. Let me just tiptoe over there, and he's going to run out of bounds. And Patrick took advantage of the soft-ass rules they have for the quarterbacks. So that's what happened. That's one. Two, there's a couple players on the defensive line who were tiptoeing and basically taking the play off, not running hard to the ball, and they got caught. They got basically, because they were like, okay, you know what? Let me go rest up for a first down coming down. He's going to run out of bounds. And then all of a sudden, he just picks up and runs for another 15 yards. And then all of a sudden, you see guys speeding up. You should never speed up. You should always be running full speed to the ball no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter the rules, no matter all the protections for the quarterback, run full speed and you'll make the play. And if you don't, hey, it is what it is.
So right there, by the way, so Dwight Freeney played in an age where we all saw, you mentioned Ray Lewis in the past being all inspired, being fired up. Yeah, those defenses and times where you were going until that player was on the ground, whether it was by the sideline or not. I will say in Patrick Mahomes' defense in that, I think that guy came in, was it 53? Came in a little bit out of control. Yeah. I thought Patrick, he might have been going towards the sideline, but I thought he made a good move there. But I think Dwight was exactly right with other players kind of giving up, expecting, okay, well, at the sideline, we don't want to have a dumb penalty, so let's just pump the brakes. They allowed Patrick Mahomes to keep running, but clearly there are different rules that have been developed here that are helping the quarterbacks. I don't always agree with them. Thought there were some terrible calls in that Sunday night game against the Jets and the Bills a week ago, and Rodgers even called it out. But, I mean, Mahomes, that was the play. That was probably the play of the game, to be honest. Then that really, they score there, and then the Chiefs just never looked back. The Chiefs just dominated on defense.
Yeah,
a big part of it.
I think it is just a byproduct of where the league is these days. You know, we sit here and we talk about how much they protect the quarterback, and it's true. I mean, Brini nailed it there, but I do think it is also, like he said, it was players gave up on the play. You know, we saw this with Marcus Peters here, a few times where down the sideline, they think they're just going out of bounds. You got as much as I hate to be like, yeah, it's a good play by Pat Mahomes. He knew that they weren't going to hit him or put him out of bounds. So he took advantage of the rule. Like Freeney said, I think this is 75% on the rules. You can't hit a quarterback if he's that close. Because let's be honest, even if Mahomes was stayed in bounds with how he was to the white, if he would have had any sort of aggressive contact to him, it would have been 15 yards. He would have stepped out the millisecond beforehand. It would have been 15 yards, and the refs would have protected him there. So you're in a complete lose-lose situation as a defender, but I also agree with Freeney in the fact that, hey, they were in that position of they had to knock him out because some guys were taking the play off. They weren't running behind. They assumed he was going to step out, and then you see him a few times try to kick it into that second gear to make up for it. So it's a great play by Mahomes, but it's also one of those plays where you're like, it sucks that we're at this point in the National Football League.
Yeah, we're not seeing a guy, Brad, go a million miles an hour like Ed Reed, who we felt he got face smacked on a punt block and then ran 100 miles an hour down the field. And then this is obviously illegal now, but then blindside block or just hit in that case obliterated that Colts player. I know you know what play I'm talking about, Brad. Like that. We're not seeing that ever again here. But what do you think then? What we're alluding to, Brad? What's your opinion?
I think Zach was spot on with it. I also think too that there was definitely a lot of undisciplined football being played out there by the defense. It wouldn't have been nothing. They were so close to Pat Mahomes that all they had to do was just give him a shove. And we're not saying that you gotta tackle him on the sideline, but like just get him out of bounds. Like that's all they had to do was just get him out of bounds, and they couldn't even do that. And not only that, but it was a Kyle Shanahan offense in the fourth quarter, and we knew once that they were down in the fourth quarter, he wasn't coming back from that either. So the thing of it is that is still staggering to me is just how shitty Patrick Mahomes is playing this season, and they continue to stack wins. I mean that Kansas City defense is unbelievable, and that's without Patrick Patrick Mahomes throwing a touchdown in the last 2 games, which I don't know if has ever happened in his career, or maybe it's happened once. And with Travis Kelce not scoring a touchdown all season. I mean, that's just, if you'd have told me that those were the things that were happening to the Chiefs, I would tell you you're bullface lying to me as far as them being undefeated in week 7. That's just crazy to me.
I mean, I think in here, it's just showing you that the Chiefs are a very well-run organization. They just know what they're doing, right? And we're talking about complementary football. I would just say that they complement when one team is struggling, the other part of it picks them up. I think like that's just what they do. And that defense, yeah, that's the best defense in football right now. Like by far, hands down, that team just knows how to make plays. They do. And they got superstar type players. Chris Jones playing, he's probably, if we're going to talk about where he ranks in the hierarchy of the team, it's 3 players for the Chiefs that people talk about. But this is the one they talk about the least amount. It's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the top 2. It's Christian Jones. But Chris Jones probably, arguably, is the most impactful player on that Chiefs team because of what he brings on the defensive side. So anyway, that's just a good point right here. On the other side, do we go with another comment about talking about being soft plays, soft calls?
Might have to.
Do we go back to the well that Gerard Mayo, Patriots head coach, apparently after that, is it bludgeoning? Bludgeoning the right word?
Yeah,
bludgeoning.
They
bludgeoning.
They played a football game in England,
and that's
what happened.
And you know what? Drake May, I thought, had some great moments, but the rush defense for the Pats got smacked, and I mean smacked. Tank Bigsby was running all over them. Jags had their way; they cruised to a victory. But Gerard Mayo essentially was calling the Patriots players soft. Bill Belichick actually, respectfully took offense to that, and he explained why. So, Zach, if we can play that clip of Bill talking
defensively, the Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense, yards per carry, number 1 in the league. And this year, they're way down in the 20s somewhere. It's the same guys. They re-signed Jennings. They re-signed Tavai. They re-signed obviously Duggar, right? Marcus Jones and Gonzalez have been healthy all year, which they were both on IR at this point last year. So you got Wise, you got Godshaw, you got Keon White, you got Mapu, you got Gonzalez, 3 rookies from last year. So it's a lot of the same players, and in some cases I would say more. So I don't, I'm kind of hurt for those guys because to call them soft, they're not soft. They were the best team in the league last year against the run. And those guys went out there and did it, even though we couldn't score many points offensively. So I don't know. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough group. I mean, John Jones, Godshaw, Wise, Jennings, those are all Uche. Those guys are all tough players. Like they'll strap it up and go. Duggar, I mean, they're tough guys.
Strapping it up. Hey, Bill wasn't holding back on some thoughts here. You know what I mean? Hey, now, Bill. You know what? I like this side of Bill.
Me too.
I like this Bill Belichick. Also, for the record, they were not the number 1 team as far as rush yards allowed, but they were top 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just so people would understand, like the Patriots, he's right. They couldn't score, but their rush defense was really good. So to call in those cases, in that case, I know it's more of a motivation tactic. I think in that case, you got your ass beat and you're saying, oh, we're being soft. But in my case, who is dictating what schemes and how you're going to play and what's going on? I think that's the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And Gerard Mayo is a defensive guy. And I know he's a first-time head coach. So you give him a benefit on that. But if you're looking at it, there's a lot more to this.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars were a bad team.
Yeah.
They just got boat raced last week against the Bears. And they couldn't get things going in this case, the Patriots. Then the scheme was they were going to try to, take pressure off of Trevor Lawrence because he was not playing maybe the way that people were hoping. So let's hand the ball off as many times as possible. And they did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say, yes, players are the ones that got to go out and play it, but they do have a lot of the same pieces. That's what Bill's saying from last year. And the Jaguars and Tank Bigsby. And I saw Kevin starting Tank Bigsby, you started him yesterday in fantasy. You were feeling really damn good.
Yeah.
If you remembered to put him in the lineup, because ETN was inactive, but it's early in the morning. Zach, you might have just been waking up from a nightmare.
It is one of those things like you're talking about with the Patriots. I agree with what Bill said. It's not like this is a whole new crew. And yes, the stats are the stats. They're not playing great ball right now. I think that is very obvious. They're not playing great ball at all, either side of the football. But it's the fact of calling your guys soft that I think Bill took offense to, because those are guys that he coached last year. He knows those guys personally. He understands what this team is. And I think it was more him kind of sticking up for the players than trying to trash the Patriots, saying, hey, these guys aren't soft. These are damn good football players. Something's going on that in New England that's causing this. I think that's Bill's point is, hey, I don't know what's happening, but the last thing that these players are is soft. So I think really what I like most about this Bill is he'll stick up for guys. You know, it's not like he's throwing anyone under the bus. And I do wonder about his relationship with the Patriots. I'm wondering if there is still some bad blood there, but you do have to give it to Bill. He's going to stick up for his guys. And I think he still sees the Patriots and those players there specifically as his guys. So he doesn't like hearing that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He doesn't at all, but it's football, man. I mean, you're going to try to motivate. This is one thing. What I'll say is, yes, your job is to try to keep belief in a locker room, keep motivation, but grown-ass men their motivation should be to go out there and play each day. So how I'm looking at it is, if you have the motivation, it should already be there. It comes down to, can you scheme it up and can you be able to set the precedent? The Pats aren't setting the precedent, but quite frankly, the Pats haven't been the Pats since Tom Brady left. So they're trying to figure out their whole identity over there in general. But one thing that they could hang their hat on is that their defense was always solid. It was a solid unit, but right now, not as solid as it could be. So again, if you're new to that channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're getting geared up here. We're getting closer to kickoff. We're gonna be up in here till 7. I was about to go some DMX right there. I wish we could just blast music in between segments, but it would demonetize. But you know how much energy and passion. You see how like Ollie wouldn't just be lying down on the gridiron golf. You know?
Needs more energy over there.
Ollie.
Tough day.
I think Grr. Hey, also, by the way, and Steve, still on the chat, we are, don't worry, that gridiron golf is coming your way. And by the way, for everyone else that was wondering, the gridiron golf, we had a chance here in the future. That's why when you tune in for the pregame shows, you get a chance to win. And actually, for the ones that saw the post on Deep Eddy Vodka, by the way, we're going to have that. We're going to make that announcement here tonight after the game or on Twitter. So stay tuned. We'll reach out for the people that entered into the contest there. Well, let's show you how clutch I was for gridiron golf here, because I think it's a good moment, right, Zach?
Yeah.
People called me out specifically, but you got to answer the bell. Steve, how about this? 4 putts for me to make it. If I make it, you win it. If I miss them, Joe S gets gridiron golf.
This is why we do this.
This is why we do this. Oh, wait, it's good. We got Kevin down there already.
Here we go. The first one. Pressure's on, Steve. Oh, my goodness. Oh, congratulations, Steve.
I got to figure out how to get your contact so we can send you a gridiron golf game. And we're actually bringing this to the tailgates at some point
Have
here.
to.
And we're going to find different ways to get people involved with this. Rick, haven't been practicing, man. I was just ready to rock and roll. Just ready
Stay
to rock
ready
and
so you
roll.
don't gotta get ready.
Yeah. Scared money don't make no money. I'm right. Damn right. And you know what? We do have some songs, Zach. Because when I move, you move.
Just like that.
Just like that. Dude, that. Luda! How can you not like Ludacris? Brad, so we have that. We're also going to announce the winner for our giveaway for the Hollywood Casino. We had that out as well. So, by the way, we put out posts. We try to tell our Discord group, which, Brad, our Discord group just pops off, right?
Oh, yeah.
It just pops off. But I try to put those tweets in the Discord. I'll try to remember. But make sure you guys are checking us and following us on social media there For me, it's at Ryan Ripken Show across Twitter and Instagram. So you don't miss out on the opportunities, except in this case, Joe S. I'm sorry, man. I had to do it. I got to be fair. I got to try to go out there and do my best. And I thought I did my best. Just didn't work out for you. But we appreciate you. And guess what, Brad? We opened up the call hotline here for a little bit before we have Kadri join us.
That's right. So, guys, the hotline is open for our channel members. For any of our channel members that if you have hit that join button, become a Holy Shirts and Pants member or one of Rip's good kids, go check it out. You can actually join the show. Go ahead and click that link in the community tab. I'll put the link in the chat as well. We do have our first guest, and of course, it's none other than Joe Radke.
Iceberry Joe, baby. Oh man, you are
got
stunned.
the sunglasses on.
Joe is stunned today. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're on our way back to the house. Pulled over. Be safe. Don't drive and try to do this.
Yeah, don't drive and call in. Yeah.
I'm digging that flannel, bro. Is that a Red Bull flannel?
It is.
Damn.
It is.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
We just can't get that either. Can't get a sponsorship from Red Bull either. It's tough.
No, I tried. I gave it my
I know,
best.
Joe. We know you tried. It's all, we know you. We know you're a good kid for the program here for us. But I like the whole fit today. You got the hat, you got the glasses, you got the flannel. We don't have Rocco on yet, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Fuck Rocco.
Man. Hey, Joe, I'm trying to grow out the beard for you, man. I'm trying. I can't do it like you.
You guys got to go with No Shave November and see who grows the best beard.
Oh,
I can do that.
Shave on the 31st and just let it roll for a month. Do some sort
Matter
of
of fact, I
contest.
have done that before. I've had a beard about as long as the route right here. That's about as long as I've had it.
Yeah, this is as long as it gets. I mean, I've been going. It's finally. This is like 5 years.
It just stops.
Yeah, it doesn't grow much past this.
There's no Gandalf in your future. Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
You sucked out of your top of your head and came out your face.
It's ridiculous. I've wanted a mountain man beard forever, and this is about as good as it's going to get.
Oh, it's definitely Mountain Man.
Yeah.
No, it is. But
yeah.
I can't honestly. Last time I tried to grow a beard was 2019, playing for the Frederick Keys, Shake Those Keys, and then your boy hit one like, oh God! I came back from 6 weeks after I was hitting 333, went on the IL, then hit a $140 for like 5 weeks, and I'm like, my career's over. This is it. This is my downfall. And I had to shave the beard, and Lord and behold, shaving the beard and having a lot of tequila got your guy back on track. So, you know what? I'm trying. Jamie's not a big fan of the beard. So if you can convince her for me, Joe, that would be great. So I'll have you guys get in contact. What do you got for with the Ravens, though? Give us some thoughts here.
I think the defense is going to hold strong and play very well. I think we're going like 35-14.
Ooh.
Ravens.
Love that, Joe. That's why we love you. Love
Get me
it.
fired up.
Zay Flowers, 3 touchdowns, please.
Oh,
I'd like to get 1 win. That's all I want. Just 1 win.
I would love that.
We're got a strong chance this week.
so you're telling me there's a chance, Joe?
Yeah, there's a chance.
Joe, you're a good kid, and we can always count on Joe for the call-ins. Well, hey, Joe, we appreciate you not calling in and driving or texting and driving, all of the above. We appreciate you. We'll be hollering at you, and if Rocco comes on, make some noise to make sure he knows who's in charge, all right?
That's right.
All right, Joe. Appreciate you.
See you, Joe.
Later.
I need to grow that. Like, I can't grow that beard.
Break up.
I can't.
You
I
can.
don't know
I've seen
how.
it.
Dude, I haven't shaved now for like 2 weeks. This is all I got. You know,
That's 2 weeks.
Something.
No.
It's like 9 days, 10 days, 11 days. It's almost 2 weeks.
All right.
Jamie, not a fan.
Hey, we have a gridiron golf winner. No, we got Rick. Sorry.
Yep, we got Rick. Rick,
Guys,
we don't see you, but we hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, what you got for us right now? What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
I'm going to be Captain Obvious here.
Please.
Got to hit the quarterback.
Yep.
Love it.
That's
Gotta
good.
hit the quarterback.
Right, Zach, write that.
Writing down now.
Write
Hit
down.
quarterback.
And Lamar, boy, he's really been incredible as far as undressing the defense, you know. He keeps doing what he's doing. He's got such pocket awareness right now, being able to go up to the line and read what's going on, get into the right play.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps that up. I expect we'll score a good 34 points tonight. And I think it'll be a high-scoring affair, probably something like 34-31 or something crazy like that, maybe 38-35, maybe a Justin Tucker field goal in the end to cap it off. I think it's going to be a shootout.
It feels like a game. I could see it going a couple different ways, right? So we know the Ravens defense, as far as the talent that they have, they are capable of shutting down a team. They're capable of shutting down a good offense. We saw it against Josh Allen, right? Who, you know, their offense was hit or miss, but that night the Ravens were all over them. I mean, hell, against the Ravens, against the Cowboys, they're up 25, right? It's just about closing it out here. But to your point, the Bucs, Baker, MVP candidate right now, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, that's probably got to be the best tandem wide receivers in the NFL right now. Just how they're playing. And I hope it's not that close, but Vegas has the game at 3.5 for the Ravens. And I think that they might be spot on or even less than that, Rick.
Yeah, I think they're probably about right. I mean, Tampa Bay has a really strong offensive line.
Yeah.
So hopefully the boys got something figured out with some trick, disguising the play, maybe get a couple blitzes coming off and Matabike gets home. And we do that, with our offense, keep time of possession, get our boy Henry going. I think we'll be in good shape. So that's about it.
I think we are too, Rick. Well, next time, I always appreciate when you call in. I always love seeing your face, but at least if I can hear you, will you be back on? When we're going to see your face next time?
I don't know, man. I got more of a face for radio.
Hey, you know what? I've been told that for a while here. I also told we already know what my hairline looks like. But, hey, Rick, I appreciate you, man. You're a good kid. And let's hope the Ravens, we got something nice to talk about after the game. And maybe we got a little something planned for tomorrow, Brad. Maybe we'll do that. We'll get Rick involved. All right?
All right, guys. I'll call in again so you can see my big head. But
damn right, Rick.
Go Ravens.
Come on,
Go Ravens.
Go Ravens, baby. We'll talk soon, Rick. Good kid. Oh, and Zach's back. Yes, we're having the call-ins come on in. So keep in mind here, guys, if Q comes on here, which he should be coming on at like 5:45-ish, whoever we haven't gotten to yet, we will get to you after. But we have Q on. We're going to do some Qs with Q. Maybe we have a little Q answering some questions from, people coming on. Who we got next, Brad?
We got K-Mac.
Hey, Mac, what's up, man?
What's up, boys?
How we feeling tonight?
That was pretty good timing by Rick. In the predictions piece that our guys at RSR did this week, I had actually picked the exact same score, Ravens 34, Bucs 31. So it looks like it is going to be a high-profile shootout of a game. Have a feeling the Bucs are going to get some pretty strong yardage downfield today. Godwin and Evans, I think, is the best receiving tandem that they've seen this year since they played the Bengals, obviously looking at their receivers. So they're going to move down the field, I think. But you also look at the offense versus defensive matchup. So the Ravens, number one total offense in the league right now. Buccaneers are 27th in defense. So it is a little bit of a mismatch, I think, if the Ravens can continue getting it going and maybe just disrupt a couple of Buccaneers drives. As long as they can roll and just, spread the ball around, I think they'll be fine tonight. The other thing that jumped out at me in doing the write-up, and I don't know how much history kind of plays into everything, Buccaneers have not defeated the Ravens since 2002. So the Ravens have won the last 5 matchups against Tampa Bay. And again, you don't know how much the history goes into it, but I think just even psychologically, I'm sure the Buccaneers players know that. it's, I mean, that's a tough thing to be able to get over if there's a team that comes in with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, well, you know what? To start with that point first, I wasn't kidding when I talked about postseason baseball or teams that play each other. You know, I meant it when I said if the Orioles got to play the Yankees in the divisional round, there was a psychological thing there because the Orioles now for consecutive years were beating the Yankees in the season series. And the other reason for New York, guess who they dominated all year long?
The Central.
The AL Central. Talking about a psyche over a team, over a division, it matters. I think you're exactly spot on, though, K-Mac, again, with the tandem wide receivers. I think you can argue right now saying Godwin Evans might be the best tandem at the moment. Like, you could argue.
Playing like it.
Chase and Higgins, obviously, the Ravens are going to see them. Again, that's up there, obviously. But Chris Godwin looks like that Chris Godwin that was the guy a few years ago, right? So it looks like he's picked it up. I don't want it to be the high-scoring game because I'm trying to just relax, K-Mac. I want it to be a blowout, but I think you're right. And also, by the way, K-Mac, before we let you go here, everything you're doing also where you can get all your stuff is on Russell Street Report. Like, you're telling us all this, but we got to shout out where you're doing your work from.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, russellstreetreport.com. Our guy, Tony Lombardi, is our lead editor. Fantastic. Just cannot say enough nice things about what those guys are doing. Derek Arnold is our assistant editor. He's great. He lets me get away with a lot in terms of what I write up, gives me a lot of liberties, and getting the chance to go out and do stuff at training camp, mini camp, a lot of photography stuff that I've gotten the chance to do the last couple of weeks and months. So that's always a cool opportunity. But really the thing that I enjoy the most about working with those guys is you're getting it from this perspective of Ravens fans too. So, you know, it's not, we want to try to have the journalistic integrity piece of that. And we always try to strive for that. But it is cool because you can tell that the guys who write about the team for that publication really care about the team because there is that fan aspect of it. So always enjoy getting the chance to go out there and do stuff with these guys. It's going to be a late night writing up the piece for tomorrow, but it'll all be worth it.
It'll all be worth it, man. Especially it'll be feeling a lot more worth it. The Ravens can get to 5-2 and rack off their 5th straight victory. Then we'll all be feeling good on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? So we'll do that. Hey, K-Mac, appreciate you, man. And next time we have you on, hopefully we have a lot of positivity as we look towards week 8.
Great to see you guys. At some point, I know that the place is a little bit of a mess right now. I'll have to give you a tour of all the stuff I got behind me.
Damn right. Give a tour on the call-ins. That's what the people want to see.
Yeah.
And they want to talk ball, but yes, they want to see what's happening throughout the place.
I'll save some time for show and tell next time.
Hell yeah. Show and tell. I'm going to call in, show and tell. K-Mac, appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate
you, boys.
So, guys, as we were talking about, we're having our call-ins. We're feeling good. We appreciate it. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. We like to have call-ins for our members. Correct, Brad? Right now, everyone that's called in so far is a member of the Ryan Ripken Show channel. You click that,
including K-Mac. K-Mac, who just signed up. So that's why I was trying to get it.
Aha. Hell yeah, K-Mac. We appreciate, I said it in the chat. I should have said it right there, but appreciate it. Yeah, that's where we started off. And again, all this goes right back into us making this a more enjoyable experience for all of you guys. And as we have more guests and things going on, we're going to have more and more opportunities and perks for our members. Like we just talked to Buck Showalter. Maybe we'll have some other things in the future with some future guests that can have our guest involved in that process. So that's all I have to say about that at the moment. We're still waiting. Do we try to get one more in real quick, Brad?
Yeah, let's do one more.
One more. Let's do one more. Who we got?
We got Kieran.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Afternoon. How we feeling? Evening, afternoon, late evening.
Yeah.
Early
Well, if
evening.
you're a Giants fan, you're not feeling anything. You're just numb.
Yeah, that was really good. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown in like 2 years in New York. Is that true?
Yeah.
No way.
Well, he does. It's just to the other team.
It's like
okay, that's very. You
It's a
you
very
have to
good
take
point.
that into consideration. I didn't think about that.
It's like 658 days or
Yeah,
something.
well, he was injured, so obviously that goes into it. But yeah, not.
What's his excuse last night?
How many home games have they played at home this year?
More than he should have touchdown.
Well, I'm sorry for you
Our
guys.
2 wins are on the road in Cleveland and in Seattle.
Well, Seattle,
That's a
solid
good win.
team.
That's all solid.
It's a
Cleveland-
decent win.
Cleveland's good.
My thing is, if you're gonna lose, at least lose like that.
Yeah,
They committed to the loss.
Yeah, I feel you. We were hoping you guys. We talked last time, right? We hoped that the Bengals were gonna, you guys take care of the Bengals.
So close.
It was rough.
It was tough. Well, are we taking care of the Bucs tonight or what?
I hope so. When the schedule dropped and I saw it was going to be in Tampa, I'm like, that's an hour drive for us. But
then our baby came early. And
then the baby came and got these tickets to go to the game. Forget about it.
Yeah, the audacity for the baby to just pop out early.
Yeah.
Truly.
Honestly.
There's no sense of football schedules.
Have you had that conversation? Like, we could be at this game. We love you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's 3 months old and very well aware.
Oh man, that's beautiful. In all seriousness, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you guys. Glad you guys are obviously safe down there as well. What are we thinking about?
We got very lucky.
Predictions for tonight. What are we thinking?
I'm gonna go with another high scoring game. I think we can edge it out. I'm thinking like 34-24, something like that. I think
taking the over on the points should be easy tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't me. Okay. See you guys.
He's back. He's back.
I was gonna say if we can get Henry rolling. Any word on Vita Vea? Is he playing tonight?
He's gonna play.
He's gonna play according to Zach Rappaport. He's playing.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, just keep with the toss plays. Go around the side. Don't go up the middle with him.
That I couldn't agree more. I think the Ravens need to continue to utilize the toss play to Henry, get him in the outside, because no defensive back in their right mind wants to tackle Derrick Henry.
Hey,
right.
Ollie. No, no. Ollie.
No, Ollie.
Did he just destroy a golf ball?
Oh no.
Did he do it? Did he destroy the gridiron
Way
ball?
too excited about the dog.
I'll leave it. I think he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did. He loves them golf balls.
He loves himself some balls. How did you destroy it?
But yeah, I'm definitely thinking high scoring, 34-24. Another shootout. Evans and Godwin, they're no joke.
They aren't no joke. Honestly, we were saying before, you probably heard, they arguably top tandem right now, but if not, they're one of the best out there. And Mike Evans has been the staple of a consistent playmaker for the last decade. And Chris Godwin, I mean, I think it's fair to say, as far as him working out of the slot, there might not be any wide receiver that does it better than Godwin in that case. And he's tough. He's tough. So the Ravens are going to have their hands full. But let's hope for a victory tonight. Let's hope for a 10-point victory.
Absolutely.
Let's hope for one where I don't have to sit there contemplating if I need to pour a shot of tequila, or since there's a lot of Deep Eddy right here. And
there you go.
Honestly, you can do that anyways.
I might. Yeah. Brad, we might. We still have this bottle.
You don't need a reason to pour a shot of tequila.
We got that.
There
We
you
got
go.
Deep Eddy Ruby Red Grape. Ooh, grapefruit.
Ooh,
Might be.
Deep Eddy Ruby Red. That's the best.
Woo! Well, you know
Very
what?
good.
It's fantastic. Well, guys, appreciate you. Go Ravens and Giants.
Always.
And we'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Sounds good. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys.
We got some good kids here. Should we try to get Nick in real quick before we get Q?
Nick, you got 2 minutes.
Nick,
Good evening, guys. How you doing?
how is it across the pond?
It's only midnight there, right?
It's almost 11 p.m. So
Okay, 11. Yeah.
we're talking about late nights. Here we are.
Hey, this is like Rip After Dark here.
Gosh.
How are we feeling about this game?
Surprisingly confident as always.
Oh, I love it.
I
The demeanor.
think again we focus too much on the rushing game, but Rashad Bateman's going to take this game tonight. Short
Ooh.
That's what I'm calling. Love it.
short passes. They're a heavy blitzing team. Get after him with that. And then Derrick Henry will take it to the house for 80, 90 yards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Couldn't agree more. I think this is Todd Bowles is going to want to blitz. Todd
Oh, for
Bowles,
sure.
he's going to blitz, and I think it's like you said, it's the Rashad Bateman backside slant to the house. I think we see it tonight.
Yeah, I think we definitely see that tonight, especially with Vita Vea actually playing tonight. So that's one of the D linemen that Tyler Linderbaum's going to struggle with. So get it outside. Just keep the emphasis away from the offensive line and get it on our weapons.
Yeah, let's do that. And you know what? Maybe it's just because of the accent that you have, your presence. I have so much belief, and I'm also very calm. And I don't know if you intended that, but even when you say your heart rate's up, I'm like, oh, my heart rate's up. Like I'm taking a deep breath. You have a very, very calming presence too. Do you know that?
Well, I have really bad social anxiety, so my heart is currently shitting itself right now. So
See, that's why I love this, man. See, you would fool me. Maybe one day I'll explain my rip after dark anxieties. Maybe, no, I should. That'll be the next one we can reel off here. But in all seriousness, you make some great points to finish up the football conversation. Don't let Todd Bowles and them try to wreak havoc. You dictated. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are way better at handling the blitz than they have in recent years, right?
Absolutely.
That's the MO for Todd Bowles. Now, we did talk about earlier, the Ravens have had success against the Bucs. It's really going to be, can you continue to do what you have done well? That's find the mismatches, run the football efficiently, and then on defense, you're right. Can you stop the two-headed monster there of Godwin and Evans? If you do that, I think Baltimore is coming back, winning 5 straight. So let's hope for that. Are you staying up for the game before I let you go?
Silly question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was dumb. Yeah. Man's on right now talking Collins here, and it's almost midnight there across the pond. Hell yeah. Well, hey, maybe tomorrow we might do a little special. Maybe you'll have to join us tomorrow.
If I'm around, definitely.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, British Raven, appreciate you. All right.
All right.
Be good,
Take
be
it easy,
safe.
guys.
Go Ravens.
Go Ravens. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Also, I just love the fact right there. Heart's beating, and I'm about to shit myself. Amazing.
I'm so glad Nick called in because he's been in all the late nights.
Yeah.
This is prime. Like we've been doing we would do Kevin and Zach React on the after West Coast games. It would be like 7 a.m. over there, and he'd be tuned in immediately. He'd be like, good win.
Wired.
It's incredible.
Locked in.
Absolutely incredible.
Locked in. We have
you as always.
We have a community that's just locked the hell in. And we also have some that are just locked on, I guess, at times. Or it's just you mention his name and he appears. Just like, where the hell is Kevin Ostreicher? I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. There he is. Kevin, you joined right in time here because I think we have to have a little cues with Q.
We do. And very quickly before I do want to announce to everybody that we have a very special thing that I found yesterday.
No.
Nice. Nice. Is that the 13th fish?
Yeah, we're double digits. We're double digits on the glass. We're past. We're past.
I was going to say you're double digits at 10. This was 13.
Yeah, Kevin, where's the math there?
I don't.
Locked on.
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. But we got an exciting game tonight. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for Q's hashtag Q's with Q, hashtag Q tips, hashtag IQ with 4 Baltimore Ravens wide receivers, Super Bowl champions. So if we have him back there.
You think he's back there?
Yeah, back there. He's back there.
Is he back there? There he is.
There he is.
Man, I'm sitting here like, okay, I don't have anxiety. I don't sit there and worry, but I do appreciate Nick, the fact that he might have it, but the composure and the breakdown of him preparing himself for tonight's contest, I applaud him. That was awesome.
Hell yeah. Hey, yeah. So we added that feature on the show here, Q. We do some call-ins, right? So we like to see from our community. We're big in our community. So everyone out there too, you want to join the community, hit that join button next. And also too, for people that are tuning in, this is the time to ask questions, Q's for Q. Hell, that's what we're talking about doing. So let us know and we'll feature some questions here tonight when we got Q. But Q, let's start with this. Baltimore has a good opportunity in front of them, trying to win their 5th straight. But at the same time, The Bucs have been doing a lot of things right here. It should be a good one down in Tampa Bay.
It's going to be a challenging test, and it's so interesting because we've been saying it for the last, since the start of the season. You open up with the Kansas City Chiefs, and then, of course, you got all the big boys because you were the number one seed in the AFC, so you're getting everybody's best, and you're also getting other division winners. And for the Buccaneers, it's the next game up. This is a game where, have we heard this before? Oh, they score an awful lot of points. Oh, they got dynamic, skilled guys on the outside. Oh, their quarterback, he plays so great. Oh my goodness, you got to be ready because that defensive front, it can get after you, and all of a sudden it can make life uncomfortable for Lamar. Meanwhile, the Ravens are realizing, look, we do what we do. Other teams got to face us. We don't face them. So, they're going on the road. It's a Monday night challenge. And I think this is a team that's built to win, to go, to challenge itself, to face hostile environments and not flinch.
I'm with you on that. I think, the Ravens are built to handle almost anything. Now it's about, though, can you finish games? Can you finish it off? And Kev, for the Ravens, that has been continued the MO. And I don't know where you want to go with this next, Kev. Maybe just kind of around. I mean, which way do you want to go on this side first? You want to go defense or offense with where the emphasis? We know how good this offense is. Do we start defense with the challenges that they have? Because, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, check the notes here. They're pretty damn good, Kev.
Yeah, just they have a little bit of talent to them, a little bit of talent. But yeah, I mean, look, Tampa Bay is a team that you look at their offense, and the thing that I think will shock a lot of people, especially with the way that Rachaad White has played this season, is this is the third best rushing attack in football right now. And Rachaad White has struggled, but they've had guys like Bucky Irving step up, who's a rookie. Sean Tucker comes in last week and does his thing. And Todd Bowles has been very adamant, okay, regardless of if Rachaad White plays, we're doing hot hand. We're going with what works. So they're going to be doing that, whatever headed monster it is for them, 2, 3. But we know how good this Ravens rushing defense is. When we talk about the rushing offense, just on the ground, this team just dominates, man. They are by far and away the top rushing team. So if you can eliminate that, first of all, you don't have to worry about the threat, because what do we talk about with the Ravens offense? It's the threat of play action. What sells play action? A good running game. If the running game isn't working, you're not going to sell your play action to defense, because the defense is like, we don't care about this. We're stopping it. They're going to put more resources into that. So for the Ravens, it will, I guess, ease the burden on their secondary if they can force Tampa Bay. And Q, I know you know this really well. A second and long is a lot harder to manage than second and short. If the Ravens defense puts these guys into second and 10s, second and 9s, instead of a 5-yard run, instead of a 6-yard run, that makes things a lot less manageable for Baker Mayfield and that offense. So you have to stop Mike Evans. You have to stop Chris Godwin. We've talked about it, guys. I mean, we say, all right, Devontae Adams in week 2. This is the guy. Make anybody else beat you. And Devontae Adams almost single-handedly beats the Ravens in week 2. All right, Jamar Chase, right? That's a guy. They have T. Higgins, but just stop Jamar Chase. Goes for almost 200 on this defense. And then you got, Terry McLaurin. Not necessarily big yardage totals, but he scores 2 touchdowns. So you're not going to necessarily stop these guys because they're too talented, but slow them down and make a guy like Cade Otton beat you. I think that's a big story for me.
I think the one thing you look at with this whole flow of, the run offense, and Tampa does have a talented, run offense. They're coming off a huge productive day with 51 points hung up on the New Orleans Saints. But I even think the Saints, that they have their own issues. They weren't necessarily as stout. I think this is a Ravens defense that's number 1 against the rush for a reason. They play strong assignment football. They do have talent. You look at Travis Jones and the way in which he has played, you see that motivation, because then all of a sudden, Broderick Washington, although he was down some games, like, whoa, I got to get back in the mix. Michael Pierce, same thing. Then you look at the guys like, Nnamdi Madubuike. You look at the way in which they're holding down the edge. I think T. Robinson, he's doing an amazing job of kind of setting that edge. And maybe it's not a glamorous thing, but it allows for other guys to feast and get after the quarterback. Obviously, from a run aspect of things, you're also looking at would be Kyle Hamilton and company. They come off the edges as well, like no other team does in the National Football League. So making it one-dimensional, and I think that's going to be a blessing when it comes to what Zach Orr is trying to present to Baker. I think it'll be an advantage for the Ravens defense. The worry that I guess I have is the communication when you talk about the guys on the outside and holding down Chris Godwin, who, my goodness, I mean, he can go across the middle, make the contested catch, or he can go on the outside and make the spectacular catch. And then, of course, you're talking about a guy who's, without question, a Ring of Honor guy, but also I think he has Hall of Fame credentials too. And I think Mike Evans, now he's banged up. So, what does that look like? Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? What's his production going to be like? Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions last week. I think if the Ravens get 3 interceptions, they ain't the Saints. They're going to turn them interceptions into points. And I think that'd be a great thing. So let's make them one-dimensional. Let's take away that run, and let's see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, and Q, to bring that up right there, talking about being, one-dimensional, the one thing that Baltimore has done better than anybody in the National Football League is stopping the run. They're allowing 59. I checked my computer like 6 times. 59 yards per game. Shirts and pants, man. Like, it's incredible that they've been able to be that stout. Now, passing yards per game, then Ravens are dead last in most passing yards allowed per game. That's 275. But part of that is because if you're not running the ball, you got to throw. Or if you're behind, which a lot of teams have been to Baltimore the last 5-6 weeks, to be honest, they're going to throw the football. I guess, Q, to kind of like piggyback off of this, a lot of people, and this is a part of the evolution of it, a lot of people are focusing on with Zach Orr taking over, right? And taking heat of, well, what's happening here? The schemes aren't working. And then also saying guys aren't playing as well. We've seen like Marcus Williams has been a name that's been brought up quite a bit. So when we're talking about miscommunication here, and maybe you can just talk about this, what is something then on that side that could be, there's no easy fix, but there is if I try to articulate this properly, there's a learning curve. Mike McDonald, when he came in to be defensive coordinator, there were some tough weeks. I think we all, unfortunately, remember that Dolphins game where they came back and pulled it off, but the defense began to round into form as the season progressed. What is something that you think Zach Orr needs to focus on here to try to continue to put that unit in the right position, which we believe is a top unit in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the one thing, Ryan, it just seems like there is this communication bust that comes at the wrong time rather than it being a scheme thing and Zach Orr can't call the defense. I think he can call the defense. I think he's been doing a tremendous job. I mean, look at what they did against the Buffalo Bills. I know that, yes, Jamar Chase had a huge day, but, I mean, if you look at, the concepts were there against, Joe Burrow and company. I think at the same time, you look at the Cowboys game, I think the concepts were there. Again, the communication needs to be better. I think it's going to continue to get better. I think at the same time, individual players also need to step up. They also got to recognize that, it's not always about the X's and O's. And if I am one of those Jims and Joes out there on that football field and I'm getting paid, I need to make plays. I need to be a playmaker and hold myself accountable. That's something that, I was reading one of my guys on Twitter saying that, when was the last time we saw a Marlon Humphreys, punch out? Like we haven't. It's been a minute. Nate Wiggins, you can do what you want to do. Brandon Stevens, you can do what you want to do. But when you got yourself in great position, but you can't finish and a guy makes a great catch, that's cool that he made a great catch, but let's see the finish. That's where I think for Zach, or it's not necessarily, on him. I think what is on him and his staff is that week of practice of saying, hey, look, continually work on your little details. Let us put you in a great position. But at some point in time, it's about the Jims and Joes. Get out there on the football field and show out and show up.
You know what I think we need, Q? I think we need every time Brandon Stevens doesn't turn his head for the ball, we do like a total eclipse of the heart gif you put out, the like turn around for Brandon Stevens. It could be the brand new day for you. I think you could get that going.
Yeah. Man, if he has an interception or a pick six, something crazy, awesomeness, you best believe we're gonna go ahead and bust out. It's a brand new day on X. I think he's the thing is he's not playing bad. It's not he's like we need to worry about him. I worry more about when it comes to Marcus Williams than anything, but that Brandon Stevens, turn your head, and make the play. Because you're in position to do it. I know Nate Wiggins. There was Kyle Hamilton helping him. There was reports of him after practice helping him as far as just his technique, and even him, telling him, look, you're in position, and coaching him up on Ravens Wired. So we know they know what's what. It's now about showing up. What a grand stage to show up on, and going up against a quality opponent to gain your confidence back quick, fast, in a hurry. Because I'm telling you, Godwin, that's a contested catch dude. He don't mind going ahead. As Mike Tomlin said, there are certain receivers, they'll run into the darkness. He's one of them.
Yeah, damn right he is. And before we get more into conversations here, by the way, talking to Q here, and it's also brought to you by Missile Training, and you can check out missiletraining.com. Q, what have you been doing for training people today, by the way? Besides, you got to prep Kevin for the 40 and for the conditioning test. What have you been what has been a day in the life of workouts today for you?
Yeah, so my older clientele, I have the one gentleman who came in to see me off a referral. He had a lot of Achilles pain and issues, and after an assessment, I just explained to him how his movement mechanics, you're expecting to change by working harder, and you're getting the same old result. So it's a level of insanity. Whereas when he was sitting there working with me today, I think he really got an understanding of my hip and ankle action. They're ball and sockets. They work together in harmony. The right side has to work in harmony with the left side. My shoulder and my wrists are also ball and sockets that when they work in harmony, they work together. So I had a good group of, I would say, older clientele. And then, of course, my team have a Hickory Hornets 11U baseball team that the young men, they're recognizing again from an arm care, from a way in which you have to have a strong foot platform. If you're trying to impress a coach, speed, if you're fast, if you're agile, if you can go ahead, pick up the ball and the speed of your throw get from point A to point B, from whether it be, shortstop to first, or you're from the outfield trying to throw it in, or you're trying to run out a throw to first base. If you're doing it and you're doing it athletically, your coach going to see you, and you're going to be that kid that's going to play. So we had a lot of conversations and a lot of fun working with some good group of athletes today.
Well, hell yeah. And by the way, for people, because I know we're on the 3 screen, so I was trying to get it. Let me back up here. This is simple, and I'll block my face. You don't need to see my ugly ass face here. But for Q, check out missiletraining.com. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up, Q, is because it's a multitude of different opportunities. And it's not just an age thing. It's you can help dictate and make an impact there. And Q, don't blush here, but we're talking about a guy, I think, no offense, you're taking a good care of yourself for a long time here. Got to be a high-profile, high-top athlete in your profession. And Kevin, just like you, obviously, same background here.
Yep.
So check out missiletraining.com. Can we go to the offensive side? Because Q, that was also part of what made you you. You know how to play the wide receiver position pretty damn well. Kev, the Ravens, Derrick Henry, I think we're putting out a video now, Q. So after you can collab on it, let's start with the Derrick Henry effect. Kev, is that a good place to start here? It's looked like we know how good Lamar Jackson is. We knew how good Derrick Henry is, but both of them together, it has changed everything up and given a lot of the other Ravens playmakers opportunities.
Yeah, and Hugh, I know you and I have talked about this both here and on Locked On Ravens, just about everything that Derrick Henry brings to the table. But the reason why this team is so effective, it's because they can work play action so effectively. And what we talked about kind of with Tampa and their offense, kind of, the running game's not working. Well, play action doesn't really work. Well, the reason why Baltimore's play action is so successful is because there is a gravity, right? That's a word I love to use, right? The gravity of Derrick Henry, the gravity of Lamar Jackson. So not only on the straight handoff, drop back, play action stuff, well, it's about, if they run an option play or if they run a zone read, well, is the ball actually getting handed off? Is Lamar going to take that thing, or is he going to drop back with that? And if we saw what we did last week with Washington, they sold out to stop that run game. And what happened? It was Zay Flowers one-on-one. It was Rashad Bateman one-on-one. Lamar would just plop it over those linebackers' heads that were cheating in on the ground game. And I think if you're Tampa, you look at this defense, Tampa's defense against the play action is very poor. Bottom 5, bottom 2, worst in the league in multiple different categories. I mean, if I'm looking at this, if I'm Baltimore, I'm looking at play action and saying, we're just going to spam that action until it doesn't work. And if it keeps working, we're not going away from it. That'd be what my game plan would be.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments. It's really cool how Todd Monken, it's become a thing when he goes up to talk. Man, he got that big old game plan in the shorts. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, he's about to go ahead and do some cooking. And so I think when you look at the way his personnel packages, and I'm talking about like going back to when they needed, it was in Dallas, and you saw Charlie Kolar, and it was a run-dominant look. What did the Cowboys do? Oh, we're going to sell out. What did Charlie Kolar and Lamar Jackson do? Ha, naked boot. Boom, Charlie in the flat, down the sideline for a big play. From that point forward, you could not just sit there and say, Charlie Kolar in the game, Pat Ricard in the game. Well, it's just going to be a run. And that's it. We're just going to sell out. You can't do it anymore because what we also saw in the Cincinnati game was the coming out party again of Charlie Kolar in a variety of ways down the seam. But then you add in the 3 tight end personnel grouping and you think, oh, Mark Andrews, man, we know he's going to be throwing the football not so fast. And all of a sudden, you see Lamar Jackson scooting around the end. You see Derrick Henry scooting around the end in the fourth quarter, finishing off games. So I say that to say this. The personnel packages, it's a problem for defenses. It's a legit situation where, dang it, we can't just bring in our big personnel, but we got to respect the big personnel because, Pat Ricard and Charlie Kolar doing a dang on good job of blocking. Now, at the same time, you also bring in like a Zay Flowers action where you're getting the ball out of his hands quickly. And Isaiah Likely is a strong downfield blocker as well. So the pick your poison Lamar Jackson quote comes to mind. It's how is Todd Monken utilizing the different personnel packages? Lamar Jackson getting to the line of scrimmage and saying, all right, defense, you're overloading to my left. Well, then I'm going to go to my right. And now stop us. Oh, you tried to cue yourself in on stopping the run? Here's where we're changing it up. And I like what Nick Mason said. Oh, buddy, my boy Bateman. What up? This is one of those games where defense is having issues as far as their secondary concerns and some injuries. You want your route aficionado to go out there, boom, bust out, get some good separation. I think that's where you can make some strong plays, whether it be in the red zone or in the open field.
Yeah, I mean, and for everyone out there, by the way, I saw Q just accept the collaboration, so appreciate you there. So for everyone else, we do breakdowns with Q. So even Steve earlier talked about you breaking down, and maybe Q, we'll talk to you after. So we need to talk about right after this game, but us just sitting down and seeing the impact that Lamar and Derrick Henry have had, and then seeing the evolution, or maybe not even the evolution, but the opportunities presented itself with players that maybe fans didn't give the exact credit to because of just how the gameplay was going, right? Charlie Kolar now has stepped up in the moments he's been called upon. And Rashad Bateman, he's proven that he can separate with the best of them. Just one of the examples on top of the already great players that they have. Hey, Q, before I let you go, what happens tonight then? Can we get a, there's no crystal ball thing, Kev, I can do for like a Q crystal? No. Right?
Yeah, we might have to come back next week.
We ain't trying to go to a Q crystal ball.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, there it is.
Boom, baby. That's right there. Hey, Q, I'm going to be joining you soon. Don't you worry. What do we got tonight? What's the prediction?
Yeah, I mean the problem is that they, meaning the Buccaneers, their gunslinger quarterback can make some plays and ain't afraid to make plays. And so therefore, I got to respect it. I say they put up 27, 28 points. It's not going to be hope. Here's a bold prediction. The Ravens defense shut them out in the fourth quarter. So they get their 27 points first to the third quarter. Who cares? Because the Ravens defense shuts them out in the fourth quarter. They get a critical pick six. Marcus Williams redeems himself. He says he loves playing down in Tampa because he had a pick six down there. So I say he redeems himself, and they close out the game. Derrick Henry goes over 110 again. You'll say, well, Kaji, 110, why is that arbitrary? Because every time he goes over 100, they just locking it in for a win. He's going to have another 21-mile-an-hour sprint down the sideline to close out the game. And I think the Ravens do it with a score of 33, Bucs 27.
Woo! And so again, check the math. Check the math. We got a lot of overs. The over and under, I think, is at like 49.5. A lot of people are expecting a barn burner. Q. We appreciate it, and I'll talk to you. But we gotta break down what happens then with this game.
Absolutely. You'll get the Q report after the game.
See, we need to get this like branded up there.
I was gonna say we need brains.
Yeah, we need a sign or something.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, Q, did we just lose Q?
Yeah, I think he might have dropped off.
Oh. Well, that was Country Smell, everybody.
All right.
Hey.
Yeah.
I would also like to announce that I also accepted the collaboration. Q got a special shout out, but I did not. So I just wanted to shout myself out.
Thank you, Kevin.
Accepting.
Thank you.
And you know what? Why don't we play what we're talking about here, and you guys can check it out because we post these on the social media pages on Twitter, Instagram. Show you the one that was actually just put out here. This was explaining the Derrick Henry effect. Let's play it for you for a quick second.
I think that, Derrick Henry is going to kind of have that counter action back to that side. So Zay Flowers now goes in motion. Everybody's respecting Derrick Henry. Look at all the defenders. They're on pause right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is the Lamar Jackson effect. That is the Derrick Henry effect. And it gives Zay Flowers an opportunity to go ahead and pause it, get out in space. The outstanding job of blocking at the top of the numbers, and then just the awesome finish job of Isaiah Likely. You got to respect 22, but then you also allow for the talents of Lamar to get the ball out quickly and then get it into a speedy playmaker who has the capability of taking a big one because of the blocking of both Bateman and Isaiah Likely down the football field.
Boom. And person to help orchestrate and put that together here, part of the Ryan Ripken Show, is a recurring guest, but also one of the co-hosts, depending on the day and the week. But Mr. Rocco DeSangro, is he? Or should we bring him? No, is he gone? Oh, there he is.
Long time no see. Welcome to the show.
Boys, how we doing? How's everyone on this fine
Look at
Monday?
this. See, I love when we get long-time listeners, first-time callers on this show.
I feel like, man, it's been a while. It's been a
Surprised
little bit.
I knew
So,
how to click on the StreamYard link.
what's that?
Surprised you still knew how to get in the studio.
Oh, dude, I hope you get stuck in traffic again in your car breaks down.
That's crazy. That was the wild.
That was a story.
That was great. Yeah, that was a story.
That was a story. Hey, Rock, how we doing? Yeah. Hey, by the way, great video right there. And for those that are wondering, we put it out on Instagram and Twitter. We have these conversations, but we know people have shorter attention spans. We throw it up there on social media, and it gets to the point. Those are some great lines and circles. Rock, good kid. Yeah. And Steve, yes, we will always blame Rocco if something goes wrong. Hey, what do we got, man? Come on. What do we got? Talk to me.
What do we got? Well,
yeah, what do we got?
You know, work was great today. Traffic in the tunnel, not so much coming back. Death, taxes, traffic in the tunnel, 3 guarantees in life. So
and the park.
I was later to the stream than I wanted to be, but here we are. It's Baltimore traffic just doing what it always does. Just ruins your day. But we're back. We're good. We're happy. Big game tonight for the Ravens. They're playing some really good football right now. I'm excited. I know this fan base is excited. A lot of people traveled down to Tampa for the game. So it should be a big one, and one I expect the Ravens to win.
So we're all on board.
That's
all
awesome.
on board. Yeah.
So far, all of our call-ins have picked the Ravens to win.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why? Why would they?
I wonder why.
You know what's interesting? A lot of people picked the Ravens to win, but when the Orioles were playing, not a lot of people were picking the Orioles to win.
Because of the trust issues with Baltimore sports and Baltimore Orioles. I expect the Ravens to at least be like I'm still learning to have expectations for the Orioles. Like, that's why sometimes like they'll lose and I'll be like, I just got to remember that we're just here. Like, I'm just happy to have feelings in October about baseball. Like, I'm still learning that part.
And we had feelings.
Yeah,
we had emotions.
Let's not talk about baseball right now with the Orioles, because it's like when Kevin says he was doing his episodes for Locked On Ravens and nobody wanted to tune in or talk about the Ravens because of that feeling from that last game. It's like, I feel like just let's not talk about the Orioles right now until spring training gets closer. You can have the number and the days circled on your calendar when pitchers and catchers report, but a lot needs to happen in the offseason. So let's Zach, how about you pump the brakes? How about you pump the brakes? Hopefully the brakes don't give out this time, and let's kind of shift the gear to football. Okay.
Well, although I will say, Zach and I learned over the course of the season with Kevin and Zach React that negativity is a powerful thing when it comes to the Orioles. And people, look, we have so many passionate people who tune into this show, tune into Kevin and Zach React, and we would text each other when it wasn't going well. We were about to hop on, and we said, "Oh boy, this is about to be a little crazy." And
one of the wildest, one of the worst feelings is Orioles get walked off, and then you hop on, and it's like 200 people waiting in the chat, and you're like, "Oh,
like, Zach, why would you do this?"
Yeah, it's like I told you so. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, guys. It's a random.
You know what
Tuesday
I love
in
then
August.
too is then you'll be like, hey, one of you guys will text like, hey, it's a big crowd if you want to hop in there. I'm like, oh, sure, the one guy that they think is positive here.
Every time I'm weird Rip telling me the O's are fine.
Yeah, it's like the best is Brad just going Godspeed, fellas, to you guys.
Good luck, fellas. Yeah, exactly.
It's just not gonna happen. Unreal.
Yeah.
I love it though. I love the passion. I love the passion.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
Can't beat it.
More passion, more energy. Ollie destroyed the gridiron golf ball here. We do have some Ravens videos that we want to get into here. I was trying to see how long they were. I'll be honest here, and maybe it's because I was trying to get through the heartburn, so I started drinking some more water. And the good saying: nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Hey, Pepto-Bismol.
Hey, Pepto-Bismol. Exactly. I have to use the restroom real quickly. But should we play one of the clips?
Yeah. Do we want to? Which one do we want to do? Do we want to do Ray Lewis talking or Bill Belichick?
Let's start with Ray Lewis. You can go back to me for a second here. Come on back. Hey, how's it going? Ray Lewis talked about really kind of the evolution of Lamar Jackson and his maturity on what he has done and what he has seen for the progression for the star quarterback for the Ravens. So let's play that clip, and I'll be right back.
Absolute monster, a beast on the football field, right? Your team, Baltimore Ravens, they are, after a slow start, they're back in the mix. Lamar's playing like an MVP yet again. What do you make of the Ravens this season, and can they finally go all the way and win another title?
I always say that, people say, they off to a slow start. Okay, maybe you lose 1 or 2 games, but you didn't come into the season to go undefeated. You come into the season to get to the end of the season, right? And I think the key is, like, what we're building right now is, I love what we're doing regular season, but I need us healthy, right? And that's any team. Like, what happens when you get into late December, early January? That's where you want to measure your team. Everything else before that, yes, it's necessary, but it's not defining. Right? It's just necessary to start planting the seeds that this is who we're going to be when we get on that side of it. And I'm telling you, I think the Ravens, with Derrick Henry coming there and what Lamar is doing now, I think Lamar is now, he's really starting to mature into what makes him really special. Athleticism, that's easy. He's the most athletic thing we've ever seen ever play this game. But when you talk about just maturity, I think he's starting to mature into it, which is, it's becoming poetic to watch. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think there were a few things, kind of big takeaways from that. First off, I love Ray talking about people are going to say that the Ravens started off slow because they lost a few games. But your goal is to get to the end every single year. Remember, the Chiefs lost a pretty wild game to the Lions last year, and I can tell you one thing. Nobody cared about that week 1 loss while they were hoisting the Lombardi trophy. It's just what it is in football. You lost to the defending back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Week 1, you have a tough loss against the Raiders at home week 2. But besides that, yeah, you lost 2 games, one of them by a toe to the defending back-to-back Super Bowl champions. It's hard to say, yeah, you started slow because, yeah, Lamar will say it. Harbaugh will say it. Roquan will say it. Every single person in that locker room will say it. The goal is in February. They didn't go through training camp. They didn't go through free agency to win on September 8th. That wasn't the goal. The goal's to win in February. So I like that. And then obviously he talks about Lamar Jackson maturing as a passer. So Kevin, let's start with you. What were your kind of thoughts on what Ray talked about?
Yeah, I kind of took away the same that you did, Zach. I remember when the season ended last year, and Rocco, I know you remember it too, where all the Ravens fans were saying, we don't care about the regular season. We're done with the regular season. All that matters is the playoffs, right? And that's true because historically under John Harbaugh, the Ravens have been a great regular season team. It's very rare that they finish around the 500 mark or below. It's happened a couple of times, but usually they do enough to get into the dance. Obviously, the earlier playoff success for John Harbaugh was a lot more than what we've seen lately, especially in the Lamar Jackson era. But that's kind of the frustration with fans. It was, just get to January. Like, anything can happen in the regular season, whatever. And so what Ray said there is, it's true. Like, health is a big thing. Since everybody wants to keep talking about the Bengals Super Bowl appearance a couple years ago, I'll feed into it. The Bengals were healthy that year. So were the Rams. Health is a big factor in what happens. And so the Ravens, I am banned from saying this on streams after last year, apparently, but they have.
And why are you saying it? This is crazy. Why are you?
Because people think I jinx it when I do it.
Can you off this stream then, Kevin?
You with a Ravens game in 2 hours, you want me to actively jinx the health of the team?
That's what I'm saying.
Don't say it.
I'm not. I'm just saying I'm banned from saying it on stream, so I'm not going to say it. But health plays a big factor in what goes on for teams. And so when you're this Ravens team and you're looking ahead, if sometimes it's just the healthiest team wins. That's what it is. So for Ray saying you're going to get there, hopefully healthy, that is what the goal is. All right. I danced around. I did like the cha-cha slide around that thing. Right. But I think I got my point across. Health is the key thing.
Kevin, first of all, I'm impressed you know what the cha-cha slide is. So
of course.
Brownie points to you for that. What I'll say about this in the Ravens in general, last year, there were some growing pains offensively because they had a new offensive coordinator. Early on, there were some growing pains. And this was a team that scored 7 points. You wanted to see them come out of the gates hot, but in that first quarter, in the first half against the Texans, A brand new team that wasn't so good the year before, had a new quarterback, had a new defense, had a new look, and the Ravens only put up 7 points. Everyone, I'm not saying this because it's just not the case. Nobody was ready to write the Ravens off week 1, first half. But people were pissed off. They're like, this is what we spent the whole offseason doing, putting up 7 points against the Texans. Like, what's going on? So, new offensive coordinator last year, okay? This year, the growing pains look like they were a bit on the defensive side of the ball, okay? Because you have a first-year defensive coordinator in Zach Orr. While the players, many of them remain the same. You got the Roquan Smiths, the Nnamdi Madubuikes, the Kyle Hamiltons, the Marlon Humphreys. You add a new play caller into the mix, a guy who's been there before, but a guy who hasn't called plays before on the defensive side of the ball as a coach. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, I'm telling you what, though, guys, you don't want to let the Ravens get hot if you're the rest of the NFL, and that's what you're continue to see. They might lose the first 2 games of the season. They might have some struggles early on. They might give up a couple leads, and that might happen later on in the season as well. But once this team hits its rhythm, hits its stride, they're scary as hell. They're scary as hell right now, but they don't want to hear any of that. They're like, get that as far away from me as possible, because you know what? We want to be viewed as the underdog. We want to be viewed as a team that everyone overlooks. But there gets to a point where you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield and the guys on defense where you can no longer be viewed as that. But for the Ravens, if they can continue to put all of this together and just, as cliche as it sounds, play as a team and play as one, this is a team that you're going to see finished off the season, the regular season last year, went through the gauntlet and absolutely dominated. I think you're going to see much of the same in 2024 as well.
Play as a team. Come on, Rocco.
Play as a team. Play to win the game.
We just play together. We play together. We'll win the game.
Go team.
Go team.
Just communicate.
Play to win the game.
You play to win the game. Good kids here. But in all seriousness, here's the reality for Baltimore. They are evolving. This is a different, people might not want to believe it. They have a lot of the same guys, Rock, you mentioned, but it's a different feeling than it even was last year. Yep. And the evolution of Lamar Jackson is where this conversation continues to begin. You're seeing him start to become a player that not only was leading by his actions, by how the Baltimore Ravens played, but now he's also then demanding that and vocalizing that of what he wants and what he expects here. And for Baltimore, that has been the beauty of it. And here's the reality of it. The path is only going to get harder. But for right now, you focus on the Tampa Bay Bucs. You get down there. You don't allow them to fire the cannons, and you keep moving on. That's what you want here, baby. You win the game in front of you. That's the most important one. Then you worry about the next week. That's how it is.
Rip, they have the cannons.
The
Ravens have a musket, and that musket's name is Nicholas Moore.
That is true.
I had no idea where that was going.
One of the strangest analogies you will ever hear.
What the hell was that?
It was
Pro Bowl. We're getting somewhat close to Pro Bowl votes, everybody. By the way.
Yeah. No,
just wanted to remind everyone that we are going hard on the Nick Moore.
We are going to hit this campaign so hard. The hype video is going to feed families. It's going to be incredible.
And I expect payment. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I don't.
I think
there's the Pro Bowl bonus, isn't there? We got to make Nick some money here.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that. I also do think it's fine that Nick is like an all-pro, and we're like trying to get him into pro. I would say all-pro is more impressive than Pro Bowl.
But it's about having the accolades, right? You want to say all-pro / Pro Bowler.
We don't get the vote for all-pro. We have no effect on.
That's what I'm saying, but it also does suck because 90% of the reason I want him to be in the Pro Bowl is because I want him to compete in the long snapper game.
Oh yeah, I don't want to hear any of this. I mean,
but I also don't. Even if he makes it, I don't want him to be there.
Yeah, I want him to make it just so he can say, I made it, but I'm not going.
The goal is for that 2024 Pro Bowl honor to be on his Wikipedia page.
Yes.
But the goal is also for him not to play a snap or touch the ball in the Pro Bowl and be doing that in February somewhere else.
You know how they have the asterisks next to certain like things in Wikipedia, and then it's the links. You say 2024 Pro Bowl asterisk courtesy or assisted by Ryan Ripken's show. Because Nick will do enough to get there on his own, but obviously we're just giving the push.
And then he'll keep doing this at the events here.
This was electric.
Oh.
Okay, but you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't seen this.
Nick at Jimmy Charles's concert there at Maryland Live is just Pike and said well, he snapped, but I'm gonna say, look at that form
wow.
there.
Wow. That came up fast. I did not have time to prepare.
Red Rover bend over. That is what's happening there for Nick Moore. Apparently, that's not how he actually positions himself for a snap.
He said he had to get more height on it to go over the crowd.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what pissed me off? No one caught that football. And I expect more. I expect more from those people in the crowd. I expect some more hype right there. Like you have a Pro Bowl long snapper feeding you the football. You got to catch it.
Baltimore's never been known for its receivers.
If I would have caught that ball, I would have said, "This is my moment." I would have just punted it. You know, you field the snap from the long snapper. You're like, "Hey, man, I'm in a game right now. I'm just punting that thing. I'm trying to let my Jordan Stout right there."
I wish I could have seen Nick's face if the ball returned in punt form and got right back to him.
He would start running backstage. He tried to get the tackle.
Yeah,
if I'm a drunk dude at that concert, I'm telling my one friend you're holding the ball, and I'm telling my other friend that I'm just going to kick the ball, and you're going to be like the human field goal post. Imagine the electricity just out of that building if that would have happened. Would have been incredible.
It would have been off the charts. And you know how many other people would be fired up if you said All-Pro and Pro Bowler Nick Moore, just like everyone feels that way about Tyler Huntley. Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley. And by the way,
having a tough one.
Well, in Tyler Huntley's defense, and this whole different thing, I really like Mike McDaniel as a person. It's been a really tough situation. Coming out of a bye, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle getting 3 targets is something I will never understand. I will never understand. But I think we do need to touch on this subject here, and we'll get to one more comment that Bill Belichick talked about with Lamar Jackson as we get you ready for the Bucs Ravens. But guys, the other big news out of the NFL, Tua Tagovailoa looks like he's going to return.
Yeah.
In week 8. He is designated to return. He's going to have the opportunity, if he clears the concussion protocol, which it looks like he's going to clear, he would be slated to start this Sunday for the Miami Dolphins. Now, for a football sense, we understand how big it is, but everyone's talking about the lasting impact it can be for Tua. People are saying, Zach, he should hang it up. This is a situation. There's more to life. But guess what? Tua spoke on that today, specifically how he felt about coming back and how much he loves the game of football. So let's play that clip for you guys.
I appreciate your concern. I really do. I love this game, and I love it to the death of me. That's it.
So literally, and people are saying Tua, and people have actually said this, guys, like they're afraid that they could see Tua die on the field. That's how people were so concerned over the situation. But look, it's his choice. He loves the game. He sat down. He's had conversations. And at the end of the day, this is Tua's decision. They're going through all the protocols. And he's not, there have been other players that have been more concussed than Tua, but Tua's are the most documented on the national stage. On 2 of those cases, the Cincinnati Bengals game was a primetime game, and the Thursday night game, primetime game, right? Very documented. So, but it looks like, guys, Tua understands. He appreciates people's concern, but like you said, he loves the game of football. He wants to go out there. And now from a football standpoint, the Dolphins do need him. Like the only quarterback that seems to work for them right now, and that's what I'm saying schematically, I would think that they'd have a way to get the ball to Tyreek and Jalen, but they don't. But the guy that does know how to get it to him is Tua. And if they come back, this team's going to look very different, guys. And I mean, Zach, we talked about this before. That the skill position for the Dolphins, hands down, it's unbelievable. Hands down, it's unbelievable. Now the thing is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, their schedule down the rest of the way, Rock and Kevin, you can look at it. They got a lot of winnable games. And it is a realistic possibility that if they beat those teams with losing records, Miami's going to find themselves in a good position to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and like you said, okay, so yesterday, obviously, Jonnu Smith, fantastic day as a tight end, 7 receptions for 96 yards. Alec Ingold, the fullback, 1 reception for 25 yards. Then you have Jalen Waddle with 1 reception for 11 yards. Tyreek Hill, 1 reception for 8 yards. They combined for 4 targets. Malpractice is the word I'll use because that's what it was. I understand you have a backup quarterback. I understand that Tyler Huntley is not Tua Tagovailoa when it comes to throwing the football. But like you said, Rip, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this football game in a way where you knew who your starting quarterback was. You knew that you needed to get the ball to Jalen Waddle and needed to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. The fact that each of them did not have, at a minimum, just a baseline 3 screen targets each, like the fact that they weren't even trying to get them the ball in creative ways, it was actual routes that they were trying to run. I get that they're trying to establish the run game. I get that Jonnu Smith had a fantastic game. But if you ask the Colts, hey, Jonnu Smith's going for 96 yards, you're holding Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to what, 15 yards? They're sitting there going, we take that any damn day. Any day of the week, you give us that, they're going to win that game. It was malpractice not to get those guys involved.
And also, by the way, Anthony Richardson completed about 42% of his passes.
Yeah.
And the Colts won the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I mean, Rock, Kev, I don't know who wants to go first there. Should we start with the one that's on top? Rock?
Yeah,
Rock,
go Rock.
Rock likes to be on top. So,
okay.
What?
Like to be on top.
Continue.
Very nice.
He likes to be on top of the conversation. But Rock, I think I saw Joe make a comment here about guardian cap. The other part of this detail is Tua's not going to wear a guardian cap, the extra layer of protection. And again, it's all his choice here, even though there are a lot of people here that are thinking that it's not the right choice for him to come back and play.
Listen, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of people aren't the ones playing the game for Tua. Tua's playing the game. He's the one going out there. He's the one that had these conversations. I'm sure he spoke with medical professionals, his family members, his wife, people that are important to him in his life. And you know what? Some of them might have said, hey, man, we don't think it's right for you to continue playing this game. We think you're going to injure yourself even more. They could have said that. But at the end of the day, this is Tua's decision. And it's only Tua's decision. You know, his head coach can say, hey, Tua, we're not going to play you. They're not going to do that. They're paying him too much money. But if they truly value, because they talked about not being about, you know, Tua the football player, Tua the person, and if they truly value him as a person and they feel like it is going to be a danger for himself and his health to go out there and play football, they need to make that decision and say, hey, man, we're not going to play you, regardless of how much money we're paying you. The NFL is a business. But if they got together and said, hey, we're going to put you out there, Tua goes, I'm good to go. I'm fine. And you know what? I'm willing to take the risk. It's the game. It's the game, man. And he wants to play the game. This is what he dedicated. He's dedicated his life to the game of football. And this is what he wants to do. You can't take that away from the guy. I mean, who are we to say that? I think with Tua, the injuries have looked super graphic. And there are guys that have probably had more concussions with Tua and tend to fly under the radar because they're not doing, what's it called, the fencing with the fingers. Basically, when his fingers like go into that state of it just doesn't look great at all. So I would love to see Tua wear a guardian cap. Anything that can help him if he's going to go out there on the field. Any precautions he can take if he's going to do this, I think would be really beneficial, not only to his career, but to his long-term health. Because first and foremost, man, you've seen guys deal with CTE. It's gut-wrenching. It's heartbreaking. And we know the after effects that come with it. So I really hope this isn't the case for Tua going forward. And I hope after football, he continues to live a happy and healthy life. And there are no more concussions going forward for him.
We're hoping and praying, man. Right, Kev? That's all you can hope for at the moment, but it is a business at the end of the day. And for the Miami Dolphins, look, the business, they need to start winning football games. I mean, this is a team They weren't, just like in that AFC East, the Bills were supposed to be on a downward spiral. They're not, by the way, but the time is ticking for this offense. Tyreek Hill's not getting any younger. Jalen Waddle is a very talented player. Achane is one of the very talented threats out of the backfield. They're going to have to make some decisions, but at what cost? What's the cost going to be, Kev? That's what we'll figure out here. And the other part is they're going to have to figure out how to beat good teams. Kev, that's the other thing. The Dolphins don't have a lot of wins against teams with winning records over the last 2+ seasons.
Yeah, and we've talked about that for the last couple of years, where they're like the paper tiger, where they'll beat up on all of the bad teams and, you know, get all these flashy wins against under 500, tanking, whatever you want to call them, teams. And then, you know, we can use the Ravens as an example. If they go to Baltimore to play the Ravens and they get whooped. So, I mean, they do need Tua back. Obviously, it's just, I think, a really scary situation where it's like every time he gets hit, it's going to be like a collective gasp and like holding the breath every time he goes down, especially when, you know, maybe his head will slam back. And there are just so many other factors. And Rocco, to your point about other people being kind of underrated in this thing, the only other player I can think of is Denzel Ward over in Cleveland, who I think has had 5 or 6 concussions. And, you know, that gets talked about, but obviously you mentioned it with like the fencing and, you know, him getting up and wobbling around and like the clear telltale signs of like, okay, something's really wrong here. Like this needs to get the attention with all the emphasis the NFL's obviously placed on player safety, concussions, and all of the studies and whatnot. You know, I wouldn't have been shocked if he hung it up and said, hey man, it's just, this is bigger than this for me, but it's something where he loves the game. And so, you know, that's his decision that he made. Obviously, if it gets to a certain point, you know, I'm sure doctors would try to step in, but at the end of the day, like, he has the final call on that unless something goes seriously wrong. And obviously none of us hope it gets to that point, but it's a scary thing because of all of the precedent that we've seen with one particular player. And usually it's like there are a couple of different examples of like, okay, this injury for one player is really bad. This injury for another player is really bad. Maybe this guy, a third one. It's all been with the same guy. You know, it's 4 or 3 different examples of textbook, man, this is really scary, all with the same guy. And so you think like, man, you just hope it all goes well and, you know, just kind of go from there.
When you see trauma on the field, like this is the last thing I'll say, it garners more of a reaction. When you see someone's hands go like this and then fade down, your immediate reaction a lot of the times is, holy shit, I hope he's okay. Or I hope they're okay. I hope everything is okay. Because your mind starts swirling. You're like, you go to the brain, you go to the spinal cord, you go to, okay, are they able to move their extremities? You think about all these things. And even back to some basketball players, when you see their injuries and we think in our heads and we see them and it's traumatic for the viewer as well. You can't even imagine what the player is feeling out there. I go back to Kevin Ware when he snapped his leg in half during the NCAA tournament, or Paul George in USA basketball. Same thing. When you see those on TV, it opens your eyes more. And the hope with this, it's you don't want to see Tua get injured anymore. But the hope in seeing someone just react like that is that we can continue to bring more awareness and more eyes to concussions in football and what they do to the body and what they do to people. So again, wishing Tua nothing but the best. Nobody would have blamed him, Kevin, if he would have retired, if he would have hung it up today. People would have been like, all right, you know what? Great career, man. It's understandable. Take your money, ride off into the sunset, but you're looking out for you and your family. But he wants to play the game of football, and you can't take that away from him either.
No, yeah, and this is the last thing to close with that. You got one life. You got a choice of what you want to do. Tua loves playing ball. Tua wants to be out there with his team, understands the circumstances. Now you got to see where the chips fall where they may. Hopefully that's unscathed moving forward. And for Dolphins fans, hopefully that's getting some dubs in the process. New to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show, we do it live Monday and Thursday, and we do a little pregame with talking about the Baltimore Ravens when they have games, and they got a game tonight, just under an hour and a half until kickoff.
Yeah, just got some news on that.
Yeah, we got
a little Tez Walker.
Tezzy.
Debuting on the he's active. Looking to see a deep ball maybe tonight. Tez Walker over the top.
Oh, we've been
Talk to me. Talk to me.
I scooped him up in my franchise or dynasty league. He was one of my last draft because you draft the rookies for Rip, because you do dynasty as well. You only draft the rookies. So my buddies have been getting on me for years. They're because I scooped up Isaiah Likely early on, when he came on the scene as a rookie, and they're insider trading. What do you know? And I had him on the team, and then I started him week 1. But Tez Walker, I was going to do the same thing, but they didn't play. But he is holstered. He's on the bench, and he's just waiting to be unleashed on team. I'm not going to say my team name because it's it's not the most appropriate thing, but it's
foul.
Good.
That's foul.
Very foul.
Family friendly show, Rock.
We're saying Tez Walker might first touchdown of the game.
Trust me, I'm looking. Can FanDuel get the odds together? Come on, Tez get some odds.
I love Zach's generational bets, Justice Hill 3 touchdowns, Tez Walker first time touchdown in debut, just generational life changing money type stuff.
Oh, it would be I would parlay Tez Walker anytime touchdown with longest reception over 35 yards.
Dude,
hey, easy money.
I sprinkled some money on Ricky Pearsall yesterday to have an anytime touchdown because I thought it was the comeback. It was in San Fran. They were playing at home. They're playing the Chiefs.
Brian Robinson type deal.
Yeah, Debo was sick, and then he didn't play the rest of the game. Juwan Jennings was out. It was all the right things. And I went 3 for 4 yesterday with my anytime touchdowns. I did them separately, not in a parlay, and he was the only one that did not hit. So pretty good day.
Crazy.
Well, while we get close to wrapping up this show here, guys, there's one video we weren't going to play what Bill Belichick said about Lamar, but while we're talking about bets and doing all that, might as well find the time to tell you about our good friends at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia.
That was pretty bad.
The delay was way off. But our friends up there, hey, we had a post out on Twitter to have a chance. We're giving away one package, so I will let the winner know that later tonight or tomorrow morning because we're doing a show October 27th, pregame show next Sunday. This Sunday, actually, specifically coming up there at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. It's an hour from Owings Mills, hour from Owings Mills, hour and 15 from Baltimore. And we also then have the one package we're giving away. But if you want to sign up, it's 20% off for packets for 4. You use the code RIPKEN, RIPKEN. We're doing a live show up there, and then we are hanging out there 12 to 4 p.m. Ravens are playing the Browns. I believe the Commanders are playing the Bears. So we're going to be up there having a great time. There is going to be tailgate festivities, a nacho bar. Still haven't experienced a good nacho bar or any nacho bar for that matter. And then here's the best part too. You go there, you have a chance to win some prizes and to donate, and the donations that are taking place at this event, all those proceeds are going to the West Virginia Breast Initiative, which essentially it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Wear pink. All those are donations going there for breast cancer awareness. So we'll see you up there at Hollywood Casino, Charlestown Races in West Virginia.
That was better.
No, Kevin, you
terrible. Hey, I think it's a good time, Zach. Can we pull up those bets?
Yeah.
So while he's getting those best bets out here, that is what we're going to go with, guys, because I'm curious. What we're thinking. We don't have our dogs this week because it's Monday and the games happen. Speaking of dogs, yesterday, were there a lot of big dogs? Woof, woof. Nothing too crazy. The Lions won on the road. They were dogs.
Nothing too, I don't think. Were the Chiefs dogs? I don't think so.
And that's crazy to me that the Lions were dogs because I know that Minnesota entered that game. They were undefeated, but the Lions as dogs just baffles me. They have a squad.
They were favored?
Jags were favored.
Oh, I thought the Jags were
the Lions, the Vikings at home, it was a close line. But great game, by the way. Great game. So we got those best bets we can pop up there.
Kevin, you told me you weren't coming on the show. So
wow, disrespectful.
Kevin, tell us your one because you actually had
I am going
not coming on. I was like, damn, okay.
I am going Isaiah Likely anytime touchdown. But now that I said because Tampa struggles against tight ends, so Now that I said Isaiah Likely, it's going to be Mark, but I'm going Isaiah Likely anytime touchdown.
Okay. Well, I'll go with the other tight end. Mark Andrews over 28.5 yards is what his is set at. Let's get one of those plays in one play for Mark. And how about Mark getting another touchdown tonight, man? That would be great. It would be awesome to see in back-to-back games and see the Marky Mark that we all know and love. Everyone loves seeing a little sprinkle there, especially Nick Moore. Go check out that reel at Ryan Ripken Show on Twitter and Instagram. Zach, you are riding a Derrick Henry train, and why not? Hasn't done you wrong.
Until the wheels fall off. Derrick Henry over 85.5 rushing yards. Listen, if as soon as that man gets rolling, it's one of those things. If you look up at the end of the first quarter and he's got 5 rushes for 13 yards, do not panic. All he needs is one. We saw it against the Cincinnati Bengals. All it takes is that one opportunity in the open field, and once he gets going, you can't get out of the way of the train. So Derrick Henry over 85.5 yards. I'll say Brad's taking Lamar over 250 pass yards. Could be another big night for the Ravens passing game, especially if this turns out into a shootout. And then finally, Rocco, take us away.
You know what? I might have gotten carried away with this pick, but I just have a really good feeling about it. This is Lamar's return to Tampa for the first time since they had the pay him now sign that he signed. I was sick when he did that. I think this is a night to, again, make a statement. Monday Night Football, national spotlight against an NFC team. And this is the same defense that Kirk Cousins threw for 500 yards against and 4 touchdowns?
Yes.
I think Lamar can go for 3 or more, and that's what 3+ means. It's not, we're not talking 4 touchdowns. We're talking 3 or more total touchdowns. So 2 with the arm, 1 with the leg, maybe 2 with the legs, and that's you're cooking. You're cooking with Crisco.
Hey now, Lamar Jackson. Why not? And I will tell you what, when he gets rolling here, I'm going to take you guys off the screen for a second. See ya. Because the last thing I want to play before we get on out of here is talking about, you're saying, Rocco, when Lamar gets going, Zach. Lamar gets going, it's hard to stop him. This Ravens offense is prolific. It is firing on all cylinders currently. And Bill Belichick just talked about when Lamar gets going on the Pat McAfee show. Man, it is something to watch. So let's play that clip.
Cole, you've always been very openly complimentary of Lamar Jackson being a problem against your team. I think, like, literally since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Special.
He's a big problem. He's not a little problem. He's a big problem. And again, I think the biggest problem with him is first and second down. On third down, you can put a spy on him and at least take care of the scrambles and make him beat you passing. But on early downs, you can't do that. It's hard. And you've got to stop those power runs behind Richard and with Henry. And their receivers do a good job of blocking. They have good game plan runs that are, tough scheme plays. And once they get Bateman or Flowers or one of those guys in the secondary, if you don't have them, they'll go the distance on you. Same thing with Aguilar. Like, those guys can all run. So I think you got to take care of, Flowers and Andrews on third down and the quarterback and do a good job in the red area, because they're going to get down to the red area. And then that's where the quarterback runs become a little bit more of a problem too. You got Henry, but then you got Lamar on some of those counter keeps and things like that. They're tough plays.
And Likely, I mean, he gets going. It's just they have so many weapons, and then they can pound the shit out of you. So it's like, how many do you put in the box? How many do you have on the backside?
Yes, they can. And there, Rocco, right there.
Great timing. Great timing.
Just going to take him right off the screen here. Unbelievable.
Kids never heard of you.
I get punished for that?
Sorry,
you
guys.
do. Well, Kevin, I'll bring you right back on in a second here, because for editing purposes, while we put this back out, but essentially Bill Belichick is very complimentary of Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. We heard Kadri talk about it earlier, Zach. This is a team that has a MVP quarterback, 2-time MVP quarterback, has the best running back in the game in Derrick Henry, and really the best running back we've seen over the last decade, and is going to be a future Hall of Famer. You have an offensive line that's getting better by the week, and then you also have 2 young receivers that are hitting their stride in Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. And by the way, probably the deepest tight end group unit in the NFL with Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar. And this is the part, Mark Andrews still hasn't been that Mark Andrews in the receiving threat. He's made an impact. but that's just another person you have to account for. Now, let me bring back on the guys here. I mean, guys, look, essentially, this is what we're talking about. This Ravens offense led by Lamar Jackson is so dynamic. And Kevin, I will start with you.
Thank you.
It's true. Bill Belichick, and he had to defend him. We still remember that game in 2019. Bill knows a lot about trying to defend Lamar. And it's just a very big compliment. He's seen so many things throughout his NFL career, and he understands what he sees is special with what Baltimore has.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And I think the thing that makes it even scarier this season is the fact that this is the best version of Lamar Jackson that we have ever seen. And his continued growth and evolution. Part of that is, he's not just throwing the ball to two players anymore. He is spreading that football around. He's getting others involved. We see the connection with Rashad Bateman. Derrick Henry is doing his thing too. And you factor all that in, and you still have to deal with the dynamic ability of Lamar, both with his arm and with his legs. And it's just so much for an opposing defense to try to handle each and every single week. I mean, that's why defenses are trying to sell out to stop one so that the other becomes a little easier if the Ravens can't hit on that. But the problem for them is the Ravens are hitting on it, where it's like, okay, you're going to try to take away one thing from us. You're going to try to take away the run game, try to take away Derrick Henry. Well, Lamar says, all right, you can stack the box up. We're just going to work play action off of it. And the thing is, teams aren't even stopping the run, so it doesn't even matter. So that's what makes it so much more difficult. I think Todd Monken has been great this season for the most part in terms of being able to utilize guys like Zay Flowers more effectively. It was a little questionable last season at times with how Zay Flowers was being used. I think it's been a lot better this season. The Ravens are a good screen team for the first time in decades, it feels like. I mean, it's been a while. So everything seems to be hitting on all cylinders, but of course it all starts with Lamar Jackson, who in my opinion is leading the way for his MV3 this year.
And no doubt, and Rock will go to here next with you. Look, it's crazy to think that Lamar Jackson is starting to enter his prime right now, right? Like that is the concern, or the crazy concept is that he is starting to figure out how to even be a better quarterback in the National Football League. And on top of it, he has really settled in to how this offense that Todd Monken has helped shape. It looks like it's become a perfect marriage. Everyone seems to be raising their game, but it does start with number 8 at the helm of it for Baltimore.
It absolutely does. And when you have what Lamar has lacked around him in the past has been these big name, prime time skill guys. Okay. What's been the biggest knock on the Ravens for years? It's been the receiving core. They go out and draft Zay Flowers, and Zay Flowers to me looks like a number 1 receiver on many football teams. I mean, he's incredible what he's been able to do in 2 years. So you look at Zay Flowers, we looked at the Kadri breakdown of him and getting out into open field and being able to make plays, the yak plays, the yards after the catch. He's incredible at what he does. Not only that, I mean, off the line of scrimmage, that first move as well for him being a little guy, he's able to make defenders miss. Then you have Derrick Henry in the backfield that you have to account for if you're the defensive line. And we're talking about that play again. I don't mean to harp too much on it, but you're looking at the Derrick Henry effect. And you have to account for him regardless of what he does. If he's touching the football, if he's not touching the football, if he moves right, you got to go right. If he moves left, you got to go left. You have to account for Derrick Henry. And that has allowed Lamar Jackson to be the best version of himself. Not saying that Lamar couldn't do that on his own, but when the guys around you are performing to your standards in MVP level, it's going to elevate you even more. And that's why many people are so convinced that Lamar Jackson can go out and win back-to-back MVPs, the third of his career. He has been phenomenal. He's an unbelievable football player. He's a great human being, carries himself the right way. And we're looking at something special out there on Ravens colors right now.
Damn right we are. And Zach, to close out this conversation here, I mean, look, if you're a Ravens fan, and this is the biggest part of it, when Lamar Jackson plays, you always feel like you have a chance. And to just continue on, the evolution of not only Lamar Jackson just as a player in the National Football League, it's really the growth of this entire group and unit. Like, look, they got a lot of the same guys, but it just feels a little bit different this year. This offense no longer is searching for an identity. They have it. They're going to run the football, but guess what? they aren't just a run dominant team. They're also the most dominant passing offense in the game right now.
Yeah. Plain and simple. When number 8 is lacing them up, I like the Ravens' chances every single time they take that field. He is a proven winner. Look at the stats, look at the record. Lamar Jackson does one thing and one thing alone, and that's win ball game. Doesn't matter if it's the flashy stats, doesn't matter if it's gritty. He's going to find a way to win ball games. And then when we talk about now with Derrick Henry, with the evolution of the Todd Monken offense, yeah, it is this a lot of the same guys here from last year, but it's a completely different offense. You're seeing Lamar under center. You're seeing the play action because of the threat that is Derrick Henry, that future Hall of Fame player. This Ravens offense we've seen evolve in front of our eyes over the past season and a half now, and it's led to this point where going into Tampa on Monday night, the Ravens are not seen as, okay, this is the team that's going to run the ball, take time off the clock, play good defense. This is an offense that you're saying, hey, if our offense doesn't put up 30 points, we're not winning this game. Hey, if you leave Lamar Jackson a minute and 9 seconds left, no timeouts, to have to go 90 yards to give them a chance to win the game, you don't feel confident in that. This is a Ravens offense that has proven time and time again over the past year, and especially over the past 4 games, that they are clicking on a cylinder that we had only hoped would come in the Todd Monken era when he signed back here out of Georgia a season ago. So this really has been just the season of Lamar Jackson taking that step, which is crazy to say about someone who's coming off his second MVP, could have been second ever unanimous MVP season for him. For him to say that he's taking that step, he's finally maturing and taking what the defense is giving him, running the playbook at the best he's ever done it. It's a testament to him for continuing to grow throughout his career, but it's also just how damn good Lamar Jackson is playing right now.
And he is damn good right now. And there's Kevin. Well, I think this is a good time then, guys, to wrap it on up. The Ravens and Bucs, they're kicking off in almost in an hour, close to it, just over an hour till kickoff. Buccaneers right now as we go into this game. Third in the NFL in points per game at 29.7. Baltimore at 29.5. Obviously, Tampa got that big boost after that, putting up a 50 burger on the Saints. But these two offenses know how to put up points. They have prolific offenses. We know the Bucs try to do it through the air. The Ravens do it on the ground and through the air as well. So we cannot wait for this game. It should be fun. It should be great. And I think that's all I have to say about that. Fellas, any final words?
Big win for the Ravens tonight. I'm gonna predict. I'm gonna say Ravens win by 2 scores. No, I mean technically that could be 9 points, but I'm saying over 10 points. I'll say over 10 points. That's my prediction. I think this is a classic. The butterflies are kicking in. Ooh, the Ravens are playing a decent opponent. Ooh, they've got a gunslinger, all this stuff. And then Lamar Action Jackson walks out on primetime television and puts on a damn show.
Guy lives for primetime. He really does. Lives for primetime. The Ravens do in general. I mean, they are, if put the Ravens in primetime, I mean, they come out to make a statement. Not that they don't every other game, but like primetime football is the Ravens' bread and butter. And then on top of that, you look at Lamar's record against the NFC. You know, it is what it is. So I will say nothing. I will say nothing further. I will say nothing further. I will just say, just take a look at those numbers and then get back to me. I also just placed 2 bets, so I'm ready to go.
Now you have to say it.
I cannot say it.
Kevin, stop.
Can't do it.
Just tell us what your final thoughts are.
Yeah, you shut your mouth, Kevin.
My final thoughts are Rocco should say what the bets are. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Okay. Actually, my final thoughts are we're going to see a Marlon Humphrey pick 6 tonight.
Oh, wow.
Those are my final thoughts.
If that happens, we're clipping this right now.
Shout out to Jack. and the punchline over there. We're gonna hopefully Marlon will do that and give him a lot to talk about this upcoming week.
Love it. Bookend. It's the 306 mark here. 306 at like 30 seconds. Yeah, you know what? I'm just on the wagon here. Ravens win this game. Ravens, they keep track, stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North, and they come back to Baltimore at 5-2. And that is all I have to say about that. We appreciate all of you guys that tuned in here. And again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Do we cue any music? Do we not cue? Oh, we did.
Let's just
Is
cue.
my hot sauce still there?
Yeah.
Save the bets.
What?
Save the bets.
Is here at the Ryan Ripken Show. Have a day, have a night. Go Ravens tonight against the Buccaneers. We'll be back on Thursday for another regularly scheduled show. We might have some news for you guys on Tuesday as well. Be good.